I would also say to you that this is the formal meeting of the Illinois Board of Review for today, June 20th, 2024. There are several preliminary matters that we need to resolve before we begin to hear cases. First of all, this is a formal hearing. And so that means that you are to present yourselves as if you were in the courthouse. That means no sleeping, no drinking, no eating while you're in the hearing. Please do not present yourself in your bed or reclining in your easy chair. This is a formal hearing. We ask all men and gentlemen to remove their head gear unless it has some religious significance, because you normally wouldn't be permitted to do that in the courthouse. The second thing I want to say to you is that we will have a list of cases early on, and they will be identified as moot or moot complied. We ask that you pay close attention, because if your matter is noted as moot or moot complied, that means that you're done for the day. It's been resolved. If you need information as to how the distinction between moot and moot complied, please call the office. There's a phone number on your invitation to this meeting that you can use. The administrator will explain the subtle differences and real significant difference. Well, please do not break in as we're hearing other cases. We have a very long list today. Everyone deserves to have their matter heard. We want everyone to present their case if they can. So we're going to move along as quickly as possible. So we will also, at this point, after we introduce ourselves, ask the law department to come on and give us a full list of matters that have already been resolved, or if there's a continuance request, etc. Thank you very much. Again, I'm Kenneth Woodson, Board Chair.
Ralph Pincus, Board Member.
Steve Pettit, Board Member.
Roger S. Tennant, Senior, Board Member.
Beverly Penn, Board Member.
Ken Washington, Board Member.
Rodney Sherry, Board Counsel.
Wade, Board Administrator.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's hear from the law department.
Hi, members of the board. Lee Bagelman for the City of Philadelphia.
Afternoon, Mr. Bagelman. What do you have for us?
I'll be reading the list of moots, and I believe my colleagues will be jumping in afterward with other preliminary matters.
Okay.
We'll start with case number 1 on the list, appeal ending in 2023. The address is 879 North Lawrence Street. Appellant Rodney Allen. That is moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Next is case number 6 on the list, appeal ending 2577. The address is 2031 South 67th Street. The appellant is Paris Luong, and that is moot.
Moot. What address did you use?
2031 South 67th Street.
Okay, thank you.
Next is case number 8 on the list, appeal number ending 2582. The address is 5601 Woodland Avenue. The appellant is a Rakiatu Sila. That is moot.
Moot.
Next, case number 9, appeal number ending 2594. The address is 5050 Winfield Avenue. The appellant is Leonardo Espinal. That is moot.
Moot.
Next, case number 10, appeal number ending 2604. The address is 1512 Wolf Street. Appellant Lynn Hay. That is moot.
Moot.
Next, case number 13, appeal number ending 2631. 1302 North 18th Street. Appellant is Ruslan Nikon. That is moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Next is case number 14, appeal number ending 2633. The address is 1000 Jackson Avenue. The appellant is a Minnie Lynn. That is moot complied.
Moot complied. Okay.
Excuse me, would that be Avenue instead of, street instead of Avenue?
I'm sorry, case number 14?
Yes.
I have that as 1000 Jackson Street. Did I say Avenue? I apologize.
Okay, thank you.
Next is case number 17 on the list, appeal number ending 2649. The address is 6935 Linmore Avenue. The appellant is Yolanda Paul. That is moot.
Moot.
And next, number 18 on the list, the appeal number ends in 2650. It's the same address, 6935 Lynmore Avenue, appellant Yolanda Paul. That is also moot.
Thank you.
Next is case number 19, appeal number ending 2706, concerning 1535 to 37 North Carlisle Street. The appellant is a Naja Boy Entertainment LLC. That is moot complied, and I also believe counsel for the appellant submitted a withdrawal this morning, but that appeal is moot.
Okay, thank you.
Next is case number 20 on the list, appeal number ending 2713. The address is 4923 North Broad Street, appellant Mohammed Malin. That is moot complied.
Moot complied, thank you.
Next, number 25 on the list, appeal number ending 2923. The address is 7821 Mercury Place, appellant Ebony Coates, moot complied.
Thank you.
Next is case number 30, appeal number ending 2945. The address is 8427 Thuron Avenue, appellant Andre Collins. That is moot.
Moot.
Next, number 32 on the list, appeal number ending 2971. The address is 2041 Walnut Street, appellant Jerome Henry, doing business as carpentry / teacher / contractor. That is moot complied.
Okay.
Next is case number 34, appeal number ending 2985, address 1821 Roseberry Street, appellant Jessica London. That is moot.
Moot, thank you.
The next three cases, 35, 36, and 37, are all the same appellant and address. The appeal numbers are 2997, 2999, and 3000. I apologize. There are three different streets, but it's the same appellant. I'll start from the top. For case number 35, appeal number ending 2997, concerning 6204 Tackawanna Street, appellant Joan Velez. That is moot complied.
Thank you.
36, appeal number ending 2999, 6210 Tackawanna Street, appellant also Joan Velez. That is also moot complied.
Thank you.
And number 37, appeal number ending in 3000, concerning 6212 Tackawanna Street, appellant Joan Velez. That is moot complied.
Thank you.
Next, number 39, appeal number ending 3012, concerning 2407 East Norris Street, appellant is Andrew McDonald. That is moot.
Okay.
Next is case number 43, appeal number ending 3040, concerning 5714 Virginian Road. The appellant is an Alondra Abrams. That is moot.
Moot, thank you.
I'm sorry, moot complied. I apologize.
Thank you.
Next, case number 53 on the list, appeal number ending 2109. The address is 1066th Avenue. The appellants are Chokwana Monso and Princess Dinar. That is moot.
Thank you.
And that concludes the list of moots, but both myself and my colleagues have some other matters to bring to the board.
Okay. Well, what we will do, we ask that anyone who has any additional matters, anyone representing the law department, rather, who has additional matters, please use the raise hand sign, and I will call you in order. Okay. Let's see. We have Mr. John Wazorek.
Good afternoon, board chairman and fellow board members. My apologies in advance if I sound a little hoarse. I've been under the weather this week.
Okay.
Just wanted to call your attention to number 2 on the list. That is appeal ending 2551. The property is at 2247 North 16th Street, and the appellant is Jessica Roberts. There was a joint continuance request submitted for this matter this morning. I just want to confirm that the board received that.
The board did receive that in executive session and approved it. So it's continued.
Thank you. I'd also want to point the board's attention to number 3 on the list, appeal ending 2558 for the property located at 1937 North 52nd Street. Appellant is Francine Crump. That was resolved by an agreement between the city and the appellant. So that will be a city affirm with a 45-day stay of enforcement.
Just one moment. City affirm 45-day stay of enforcement.
Yes, Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
And then just for the last matter, this is number 26 on the list, appeal ending 2934 for the property located at 2526 South 64th Street. The appellant is David Coletta. The appellant submitted a continuance request for this matter. I do not believe he's here at the moment, and I just was curious if the board had a chance to look at this request.
Well, is any argument by the city in opposition, or is the city okay with the request?
The appellant's request said that there were audio and visual issues he had, and he actually requested an in-person meeting.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how we would best proceed with this matter in the future.
Okay, we will ask the administrator to connect with, for today's record, we will continue it, but we will ask the administrator to connect with them and see what we can work out.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, do you have, is that it? Yeah, I guess that's it.
That's all for today. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lee Begelman.
Yes, good afternoon again. Lee Bagelman for the city. I have a few matters to bring to the board's attention. The first is case number 7 on the list, appeal number ending 2580 concerning 716 Straw Street. The appellant William Kilrain earlier this week requested a continuance, and I noted that the city did not oppose that request. I wanted to confirm the board received that request.
It was received and approved, so that matters continue.
Great, thank you. Next is case number 11 on the list, appeal number ending 2613 concerning 239 to 41 North Broad Street. The appellant emailed me this week and said that she intended to withdraw the appeal. I instructed her to submit that request to the board, but I'm not sure if she did that.
I don't believe we have record of that. Mr. Wade, do you have any record of withdrawal submitted? You're muted, sir.
No withdrawal email was received by the board's administration.
Okay.
All right, if we could, we can consider that appeal moot. They did today comply the violation. But I did instruct her to proceed with her withdrawal if that's what she wanted. But it is moot. It does not need to be continued.
Okay, so noted as moot. Thank you.
Next, I believe I had 2 more. Hang on one moment. Yes. Case number 28 on the list, appeal number ending 2940. The address is 1541 West Tucker Street, and the appellant is Cheryl Baxter. I've been communicating with the appellant, and we would like to request a continuance of this matter. I believe the violation will be complied or concluded by the time of the next listing.
Okay, is this a joint continuance request?
Yes.
Okay, we'll so noted.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, the case before this that Mr. Begelman said is now moot, is that case 11?
Yes.
Which case did you?
Number 11. Number 11.
Thank you. My apologies.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, for Mr. Begelman, he mentioned the fact that that violation was complied. So, Mr. Begelman, are you want number 11 to be complied or just moot?
We moot complied is fine. Yes.
Okay.
Thank
fine.
you.
Thank you,
For
sir.
clarification.
Oh, anything else, Mr. Begelman?
Yes, I have one more. Concerning case number 22, appeal number ending 2903. The address is 5379 Thomas Avenue. The appellant is Stacy Wooden. Earlier this week, I'd emailed the board administration about an issue with the appeal form, potential issue with the appeal form. The appellant listed a law firm as their counsel, but I could not confirm that she was represented by counsel. Therefore, I wasn't able to get in contact with the appellant. I believe she is here. And so I don't know if this matter was discussed in executive session, but
No, it wasn't.
Okay, I'd like to just request a breakout room with the appellant in the
Okay.
meantime then.
Okay, let's do this. Is anyone present representing 5379 Thomas Avenue? Stacy Wooden and/or legal counsel? If you are, please unmute and speak up. Okay,
Yes, I'm here.
all right. Ms. Wooden, do you have your lawyer with you today?
No.
Any reason why your lawyer isn't present?
No, I didn't talk to him, but
Oh, well, but before we get too far, are you being represented by this law firm or not?
yes.
Okay. Okay, let's do this. Mr. Begelman, who represents the city, a lawyer for the city, would like to speak with you in a breakout room. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
If she is represented by counsel, I don't think I'm permitted to speak to her without counsel present. I tried calling the law firm to confirm, and they were not able to confirm that they represent her. So I'm not sure.
They asked me if I needed them to call them. They sent me the letter. For some reason, it went to their office.
Okay.
I had them through the union at my job.
Okay, Ms. Wooden. Yeah. Ms. Wooden, the way this works is once you identify an attorney, all communications goes through that attorney. And the attorney should know that you cannot speak for yourself once you've been identified as having a counselor to speak for you. And so they should be here. I'm surprised they aren't. And Mr. Begelman can't talk to you because you have an attorney. So that's where we are. So I think what we're going to need to do is continue your matter. Unless you can get somebody on the phone and join us before the hearings are in today. We're going to be here for another couple hours.
No, I'll do the continuance.
Okay. So once you identify your attorney takes on responsibility for representing your interests and being present at these hearings.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if they do these hearings a lot. Yeah, they may not do these. That firm may not do these kinds of this practice in this area and may not be familiar with the process, but that's what's required.
Okay.
Mr. Begelman, anything else? What's your response to continuance in this matter?
The city's okay with continuance while we sort this out.
Okay.
But that's all for me with these preliminary matters.
Okay. So, ma'am, Ms. Wooden, you're okay for today. You can leave if you like, but it's continued for today. Okay.
I'll receive something in the mail.
Yes, ma'am. You'll get a new date, and it'll go to your lawyer. Please have them identify themselves as your lawyer when Mr. Begelman calls again, so someone there should know that they represent you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make just a comment that if the appellant is a city employee, they have a contract. The city, if she's a union member, this firm represents union members, but I don't know whether this firm will handle appeals before any of the city boards.
Yeah, that's what she has to let them know, and they have to determine for her if they need to pass it on to someone else. That they'll need to let her know that.
She needs to clarify that with the firm.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Mr. Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a number of preliminary matters to get through.
Okay.
Number 27 on the list, appeal number ending in 2937, appellant Ralph's Restaurants. I reached a settlement agreement with counsel Harry Cook that was sent to board administration. That appeal is to be marked city affirmed with a 60-day stay of enforcement.
60-day stay. Okay, thank you.
Next, I have matter number 29 on the list, appeal number ending in 2944, appellant 4520 Torresdale LLC. Counsel for the appellant Meredith Furlinger submitted a continuance request. The inspector wasn't available to appear today, and so we have agreed to not oppose the continuance request. I believe for 60 days, that was also sent to board administration.
This is 2007 Kinsey Street?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So the continuance is noted.
Okay. For matter number 38 on the list, appeal number ending in 3009, address 5231 Greenway Avenue, appellant Ran Parikh, doing business as Espan Trust. I'm not sure if Mr. Parikh is here today, but I had previously reached out to board administration because the cited party here is a trust. Mr. Parikh is a trustee and member of that trust, but not an attorney. I corresponded with Mr. Parikh on the email chain with both board administration and with board's counsel. And the general understanding was that it was likely that the board was going to require counsel for the trust to proceed with its appeal. However, there wasn't a 100% definite resolution of that issue. And so I wanted to present it to the board now.
Yes. Is Mr. Aspen Trust, I'm sorry, Mr. Parikh doing business as Aspen Trust present? Anyone present representing the interests of 5231 Greenway Avenue? Anyone present? No one's responding, but Mr. Fernandez, for the record, the board did review this matter in executive session and determined, as with LLCs and other corporate entities, that a legal counsel would be required. And so if there's no one present to respond, what would be your preference? I assume we could continue it.
With Mr. Parikh not appearing, I just reviewed my emails and he never responded to any of my outreach. I would reserve this matter and then have it dismissed for failure to appear if he does not appear. If it's possible, if he signs in late, if we could let him know that counsel will be required, I wouldn't oppose a continuance at that point.
Okay, so we will hold it until the normal order and see if he's present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Next, I have case number 40 on the list, appeal ending in 3017. The address is 1713 South Street, and the appellant is Hillary Bohr, doing business as PDB LLC or Pumpkin BYOB Restaurant. I know that Ms. Bohr is here with us today. I'm going to give a very brief background on the matter, and then Ms. Bohr can...
Well, but before we do that, though, there's an issue of whether or not she's required to have an attorney.
Correct. Yes, and
Ms. Bohr, are you present? Okay, unmute yourself, ma'am.
Here.
Ma'am, are you represented by legal counsel today?
No.
Okay, Mr. Fernandez, is the city's position that this was served on a corporation that requires legal counsel for these hearings?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The notice issued, it's a streetery violation notice from 2013. It was issued to the LLC that operates the restaurant in question.
Okay. I believe that the only position we can either dismiss this for lack of prosecution or we continue it. Yes. And at this point, I guess the appropriate thing would be to continue. Miss, ma'am, you understand that you needed a lawyer, correct?
I was not aware of that.
You didn't see that on the notice that you received?
I did not.
It is not noted on the violation notice. It isn't written on the bottom.
I thought this was something completely different that I'm in talks with City Council and Streets Department with. So I was not aware of that. No.
I'm not sure what you just said. What's different than what you talked with City Council about?
I thought that this matter that for today was for something completely different. And then I'm in talks with City Council. This was for something from almost 2 years ago that has been, I thought has been resolved.
Okay, so there were other violations at that address.
Well, the violation is that I haven't gotten my permit because they're supposed to take, they're saying that they're paving the street and I have to remove it. So how can I buy a permit?
Okay.
When they're going to remove it? And
okay. All right. Well, let's do this. Mr. Fernandez, before we get into the facts of the matter, why don't we just continue this, allow Ms. Bohr to obtain legal counsel and prepare properly for the hearing?
Yes, I would not be opposed to that. I would like to clarify what Ms. Bohr said, just so that we are crystal clear.
I just don't want to. I don't want to create extended argument, but
no, not at all. I will just say Ms. Bohr operates a restaurant. It was cited for having a streetery last year. That's the matter that's before the board today, the violation for having an, at the time, unpermitted and unlicensed streetery. Since then, she's acquired a permit, but not yet the license. Last month, she received a notice that South Street, where her restaurant is located, is going to be paved in, I believe, the first week of July. My understanding from today is that Ms. Bohr thought that this appeal was, that today's hearing was regarding the notice of imminent paving that's happening at South Street. However, that is a separate notice that requires a separate appeal, and in fact, an emergency stay issued by the board. It's not an appeal where the appeal is an automatic stay.
Right.
So Ms. Bohr is now aware that this hearing today is not related to the upcoming paving, and that emergency relief would be required to avoid the paving going forward as planned.
Okay. Now, we are not your lawyers, Ms. Bohr, and we can't give you legal counsel, but I would recommend you speak with an attorney like ASAP. If you believe that you want to seek emergency appeal, you may in fact be before a judge in CC Common Pleas Court. But again, so best of luck to you. But for today, this matter is being continued. Okay. Ms. Bohr, did you hear me?
I don't know what that means. So continued as in, what does
Well,
that
we
mean?
will not hear the case today. We will give you a date into the future. That's what the continuance means. But I'm also saying to you, please call secure legal counsel because you need legal counsel in this matter. This is far more complicated than you realize.
I was told that I have an appointment at 2:45 to file an emergency appeal, which I spoke to someone on the phone, and they said nothing about counsel that I need to go to file the appeal. Do I need counsel to file the emergency appeal?
No, but what I'm saying to you is that this matter that you're dealing with is far more complicated than you appear to understand. Secondly, may I finish? The other thing is that given the fact that the violation notice is to a company, not an individual, you must be represented by an attorney to file an appeal before this board. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Mr. Chair, if I may add, if you read carefully the violation notice that you received with regard to this appeal that you filed, you will see on the violation notice that it says any property or violation issued to a legal entity is required to have counsel at the hearing. You may not have noticed that, but the violation notice in the written content tells the person who received the notice, if a property is owned by a corporation, an LLC, they're required to have counsel. You may not have noticed that.
I don't own the property. You just said that if
the corporation,
if I own the property,
the company operating the business, is it a corporation?
It's not. It's an LLC.
Okay, that's the same difference. That's a form of corporate ownership. So that's what I'm suggesting to you. Please consult with a lawyer.
Okay, so I'll get an email about my next hearing.
Yes, we will send you a notice regarding the next hearing.
Okay, I'm excused.
Yes, ma'am. Please have a nice day. Okay. Okay. Mr. Hernandez, do you have anything else for us?
Yes, just a few more. Case number 44 on the list, appeal number ending 3056, address 4102 Paul Street, appellant Jerome Henry, doing business as HKM Group LLC. I know that Mr. Henry is here today, and I know that he is, despite being listed as the appellant, he's actually an expediter who was working with the prospective appellant. Here, the cited entity is an LLC. It's about a tire dealer license issue. There is no attorney. And so I wanted to flag this for the board.
Okay.
Since we'd likely continue this so that.
Well, the board is not inclined to continue it. So is Mr. Henry present? It's Mr. Henry. Is anyone present representing the interests of 4102 Paul Street?
He was here earlier. I saw him.
So speaking of Jerome Henry, I see him on camera there.
Yes.
So excuse me.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Mr. Henry, before we get started, this matter on Paul Street. What is your relationship to this matter?
I'm the expediter that was getting the license and permits necessary for him to be legal.
Okay, now you understand you cannot represent the owner in these hearings. Understood? Correct?
Yeah.
Why
Yes. So
why is not the owner or a lawyer present?
he has to get an attorney because we had got all the different licenses and stuff he needed. But for the appeal purposes, I told him he has to get an attorney. So he's in the process of getting an attorney. Now, if I could continue it, then
Well,
he'll be.
sir, no. I need you to answer some very specific questions because this matter requested a late appeal, which means you missed the 30-day notice early and we granted you a late appeal. Why don't you not have an attorney today?
He didn't know that he needed an attorney.
Oh, no. He knew he needed it. Yeah, no, he knew he needed an attorney if he read all the notices. Did you read them and tell him that?
Yes.
So why doesn't he have one today?
He has everything that he needs.
No. You answering the wrong question. I'm asking you why he does not have an attorney at this hearing.
Because the owner of the property is the one who would need the attorney, and he's operating the business, but it's for the business. So it was some confusion.
There's no confusion. He needs an attorney. He's the one who's responding to the appeal. We are not inclined to give a continuance. Understood? I mean, this thing has been dragging on for months and months and months. He has not shown any level of respect for the process or this board. Is there any argument from the city?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Given the history of this case, the fact that an expediter assisted with the filing of the appeal, the fact that the party that was intended to be the appellant is not present, and even if they were present, wouldn't be able to proceed because they're not represented by counsel, I would ask that this board dismiss the appeal as not presented to the board today in a workable way. There's no counsel, which is a requirement for the board. The appellant isn't even here. So I would ask, in fact, that the board dismiss this as failure to appear.
Okay. All right. Thank you. It's probably a failure to prosecute. And did we lose the Mr. Henry? I think we lost Mr. Henry.
I don't think we need him.
No, we don't. Okay. So based on, this is HA 2023-003056, 4102 Paul Street. I'm not sure, Jerome Henry doing business, HKM Group.
Yes, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Sir, when he
was talking, the computer had blanked out. The Zoom here had blanked out when he was talking. So I didn't hear nothing that was said when it had blanked out. I just got back on.
Okay. The lawyer for the city is recommending that we dismiss this matter for failure to prosecute because you've not complied with any of the existing administrative instructions, and you don't have an attorney present, and you're asking for additional time after being granted a late appeal. So at this moment, this matter is moot and is being dismissed. I apologize. Strike that. It's not moot. It's being dismissed for failure to prosecute. Understand?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, will we list that down as non-appearance?
No, we'll just list it as dismissed for failure to prosecute.
Thank you.
Unless I get a different reaction from listen from Mr. Fernandez or legal counsel. Is anyone either of them disagree?
No objection to that disposition, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. McHenry?
No, Mr. Chair, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Henry, you're going to have to, your client's got to hire a lawyer. If you want to appeal our decision, you may. So that means he needs to get a lawyer and go to common pleas court.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Alrighty, Ms. Fernandez, anything else?
Yes, I'm almost to the end of the list. Number 46 on the list, appeal number ending 3081, address 1507 Adams Avenue, appellant Adam Miranda. I don't believe that Mr. Miranda is here. However, I was just notified about 20 minutes ago that the inspector that was to appear and testify in this matter is indisposed and unable to attend the hearing. And so this is kind of like the Espan Trust matter. My preference, with the board's indulgence, would be that this matter be reserved for the call of the list, at which time it would be dismissed for failure to appear. However, if Mr. Miranda were to sign on and I were to see it, or Board Administrator Wade were to see it, we could notify him that the city would be requesting a continuance request. I just don't want to keep him waiting if he
Sure.
signs in late.
Is Adam Miranda present? Anyone present representing the interests of 1507 Adams Avenue? Anyone present? Adams Avenue. Okay, let's do this. Rather than clogging up the system, because we've got a lot to do today, let's just continue it. Mr. Fernandez.
Understood.
Okay, we'll count this as a joint request because neither party is prepared.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and then case number 49 on the list, appeal number ending in 0526, address 5911 Windsor Street, appellant Elk Enterprises. The attorney listed on the appeal was Mr. Dennenberg, David Dennenberg. When I reached out to Mr. Dennenberg last week, my email got forwarded along until it ultimately landed in the hands of Mr. McElhenney, who I believe is here with us today. He had submitted a request to board administration, I think on Tuesday, saying he had just been retained on either that day or the prior day, and he was new to the matter. I spoke to the inspector, and we don't oppose the continuance because I was able to confirm that he is brand new to the matter. The city will be prepared to proceed next time if it isn't already resolved, though we hope that it can be resolved prior to the next listing in the matter if the board were to grant the continuance.
Is Mr. McElhenney present?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
We did receive your request and reviewed it in executive session. However, we're not inclined for 6 months. Your firm is very experienced and you've been before us a number of times. And so we anticipate that you can certainly handle this within the next 60 days as opposed to 6 months.
Yeah, we wanted to make the board aware that when we apply for the zoning, we're likely to get a refusal and have to go to the zoning board of adjustment. So we didn't want to ask for a second continuance, which we might have to if we're going through the zoning appeal process. But we can do it in 2 stages if necessary. I just didn't want to surprise the board.
Okay. We don't, and certainly this is the third continuance on this matter, so we don't want to do this again. Mr. Fernandez, what is your view of this?
You know, as a professional courtesy, I understand Mr. McElhenney not being prepared to go forward today. So I would, if the board is in agreement, I would have no problem with this being marked must be tried at the next listing. I think that would give Mr. McElhenney time to get up to speed while also not unnecessarily delaying the resolution of this matter.
Okay, so if we go 6 months with a must be tried, Mr. McElhenney, would that work for you?
We will. I guess that's better than nothing. Yeah, but if we have to get zoning appeal, there's no way to get it done in that period of time.
Yeah. But now I want to be realistic. Let's not fool ourselves. And so let's be realistic. If the 6 month period, although it's a stretch, if it doesn't make sense within the current scheduling of the ZBA, I don't want us to be here again quibbling over whether we need 2 weeks or a month.
And I don't expect this, and I have to first apologize because before I had said I hope that this can be resolved prior to the next listing, and that was my mistake. I had forgotten that there was a ZBA aspect to this. I don't expect this to be resolved within the next 6 months, given that there will be a need for a variance. However, here the appellant has made some progress towards legalization. They have knocked out a few of the violations. And I would just say to the board that it's not necessary or really appropriate for the matter to be continued to the point that it can all be resolved prior to the validity of the violations at the time of the issuance of the violations being resolved. I think the 6 months would give the appellant here, a great head start towards getting this all wrapped up before any enforcement action does come down the pike. But given that, there are alleged violations alleged by the city here.
Fernandez just became frozen.
Okay, it's not me this time, it's him.
Mr. Chairman,
Here,
I have a
I would
question
ask
for
that
Mr.
we
McElhenney.
resolve the appeal.
Okay.
Oh,
Mr. Fernandez, you're freezing up on us?
I apologize. Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Well, let's do this. Mr. Kennedy, there's something critical you need answered before we.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. McElhenney, is this your first request for a variance?
We have not submitted the zoning paperwork yet. Mr. Orfanides is handling this case. We got it on Tuesday and he's actually on vacation. So this will be our first request for a zoning permit. We're anticipating a refusal that will result in a variance, but we have not received the refusal yet.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Let's just
give it. We don't need a variance.
I have a question. If in fact you do have to go to a zoning hearing, you can file for an accelerated hearing date, which I assume you could, the client has to pay for that, would enable the matter to be heard within six months.
If we submitted an application today, which we're not prepared to do, but if we submitted an application, we'd get a response within about a month, 21 days. If you file an accelerated appeal, you could theoretically get that done if we started it today within 6 months.
Okay. So what we're going to do is this, based on the city's argument and where we are in this, we're going to give you the 6 months you requested, but with a must be tried requirement.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. All righty, let's move on. Mr. Fernandez, anything else?
Yes, finally, I want to call case number 55, my final matter.
Okay.
Appeal number ending in 0076, address 237 South 48th Street. Appellant is Philip Pulley. The city is prepared to proceed in this matter, but I've been emailing back and forth with appellant's counsel, Michael Yanoff and Samantha Pulley, about this matter. And they just recently, a few minutes ago, indicated that they would like to request a continuance. And so I wanted to give them the opportunity to do so now. The city is opposed to the continuance. However, I just heard back from the inspector and we could offer a city affirmed with a 90-day stay of enforcement disposition. However, and I apologize for doing this now in front of the board and the people in the hearing. I'm not sure if they want to agree to that.
Well, let's do this. Let's put you in the breakout room and have this conversation.
Sure.
Okay, because the other matter that the board is concerned about is that there is a significant timeliness issue.
Yes.
And so we will be dealing with that whenever this is heard. So it'd be preferable to have the parties come to an agreement before it becomes before the board.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll go to the breakout room.
Just you and the attorney, or Will, just you and the other attorney, or?
Yes, me, Michael Yanoff, and I'm not sure if Ms. Pulley is.
Ms. Pulley is here as well.
Okay. So it would be great for you guys to go into breakout room to discuss this. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Reinhardt.
Thank you. Good afternoon, board. I have a couple matters, just 3 matters for your attention. The first are number 23 and 24 on your list. They are both Appellant Gillespie Partnership LLC regarding 7043 Gillespie Street and 7045 Gillespie Street. There's a joint continuance request for each of these.
So the record should indicate that appeal ending in 2913, 743 Gillespie Street will be continued. This is a joint request.
It is. Thank you.
Okay. And the appeal ending in 2914, 745 Gillespie Street is also a joint request for continuance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then I have one more continuance request. It is for number 48 on the list, appeal ending 1617 regarding 118 West Cliveden Street, appellant Gina Dade. Unfortunately, the inspector is unavailable today to testify. I will acknowledge that this is the second listing and it was the city's request to have it continued at the last listing as well.
Okay, is anyone present representing Cliveden Street, Miss Gina Dade?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Miss Gina Dade, what is your response to the city's request for a continuance?
I'm agreeing with that. I just wanted to know, what is this violation for?
This is for trash and weeds in the rear of the property.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a possibility of a conversation resolving this, or you think we need to, we can note it as continue unless there's a resolution today and we can put that resolution on the record.
We don't
excuse
have
me.
a resolution today, but we hope to, if I can continue to have conversations with the inspector, we will continue to have conversations with appellant as well.
Yeah, that's I guess what I'm asking. Is there any prospect if the two of you were in a breakout room, it could be resolved?
Not today, unfortunately, just because of complications today.
Okay, all
Excuse
right.
me, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt, Inspector Crevo has raised his hand. I'm not sure if he is the assigned inspector or is familiar with the case. Is that your inspector?
We have the continuance request for today.
Okay, so we'll note it as continued.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, could Ms. Reinhardt and myself go into a breakout room also?
Of course.
Sure, absolutely. Mr. Wade, if you're going to accommodate that.
Mr. Chairman, before dismissing it, this is the second request for a continuance by the city. Should this be marked, must be tried at the
yes,
next
thank you.
listing?
Thank you for bringing that to my attention. It will be noted as must be tried for the next hearing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me, before you mark that as must be tried, they are extenuating life-threatening circumstances on what's going on with my property.
Okay, well, those facts, we can't hear that now, ma'am. We just granted a continuance, but we're saying must be tried because we don't want this to be continued forever. And so we're trying to encourage the parties to be prepared at the next hearing. Okay. So
right.
You can have the conversation with Ms. Reinhardt. That may be helpful to both sides.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to join the breakout room, Ms. Reinhardt.
Okay. All right, Mr. Rulo.
Good afternoon, board members. Michael Rulo, RULLO, on behalf of the city. I'd like to begin by directing your attention to number 5 on the list, appeal ending 002574, 134 East 64th Avenue, appellant Marcel Rivers. This is a retaining wall case, and in reviewing the file, I learned that there are actually approximately 18 other active appeals for relating to this same wall. So this is the only one that's listed today. So I think it would make sense for us to continue this, and I can provide the board with a full list of the appeal numbers.
Okay, let's see if the appellant is present. Marcel Rivers present? Marcel Rivers. Okay, no one's responding. 134 East 64th Avenue, Marcel Rivers. Well, let's do this, Mr. Ruler. It's from terms of the hearing efficiency, it makes the most sense to do that. And so, Mr. Wade, if we could relist it in the same date as the others.
Okay. Yes, I can coordinate with Mr. Wade to identify those cases, and then we can get them listed for a consolidated hearing date.
Okay, thank you. The record should indicate that this matter will be continued and relisted with the other 18 cases on 65th Avenue. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Rulo?
Yes, if I could direct the board's attention to number 33, appeal ending 976, 2041 Walnut Street. Jerome Henry, I believe, is an expediter who's handling that. That case concerns a corporate entity that will require an attorney. I'm not sure if Mr. Henry is still here.
Mr. Henry, are you present? Mr. Henry, are you present? Okay, Mr. Henry is not responding.
If Mr. Henry is not here, then I'm going to ask that this be marked city affirmed for failure to appear.
Well, let's do this though. Given the fact that in fact he couldn't represent the interests of this party anyway. Who is the actual party? Does the record indicate who the party should be?
Yes, it is a Walmore, WALMOR Associates Limited.
Okay. And the actual party is Walmore Associates Limited?
That's correct.
M-O-O-R?
Excuse me, Walmore Associates LP.
Okay, Walmore Associates LP. Okay. Now, Mr. Henry having issues with his connectivity previously, and so it may not be to any thing that he's not doing. It may just be his computer may have crashed. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and we continue this matter so that the named party can acquire legal counsel and to be represented.
Understood. I would just like to make a note. I think that Mr. Henry is experienced at this point with the procedures of the board. So if this does come back and there is not an attorney present or the actual appellant is not present, I just want to make a note of that.
Yep.
Because the city will be requesting that this be marked city affirmed for failure to prosecute at that stage.
Yeah, so noted. And please be prepared to do that if that in fact occurs. Mr. Pincus?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rulo, are you able to communicate to Mr. Henry and make it clear to him that there's an LP that's involved in this matter and counsel is required? Are you able to send him an email or some sort of notification?
I have not. I will check with some of my colleagues. I believe that I do have his contact information. I will attempt to communicate with him.
So that at the next hearing, you
Correct.
would be able to represent that the city put them on notice of this requirement.
And that communication would be forwarded to the board as well.
Yes, thank you.
I agree.
Thank you. Mr. Logue.
Oh,
you have one more? I'm sorry. You have one additional matter, Mr. Rulo?
Two more, actually.
Okay.
Turning to number, excuse me. Pardon. Number 51, appeal ending 626-241 East Arampt Street, Theodore Tillman. I believe Mr. Steve Masters is here and representing the appellant. There is a pending zoning board of adjustment hearing in September that will actually hopefully resolve this case. So the parties would jointly request a continuance until after that hearing date, which I believe is September 4th. Mr. Masters, is that correct?
Good morning or good afternoon, members of the board. Steve Masters for the appellant. It's September 25th is the zoning hearing.
Okay, thank you. That's the presently scheduled by the zoning board for the 25th of September?
Correct.
Okay. And this is a joint request for continuance?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We'll continue it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then board members, if I can direct your attention to number 59 on the list, appeal ending 842-3317 Gall Street. Appellant is a John Johnson.
Yes.
I believe that the appellant is here. I saw something called Exotic Automotive at some point that was on the.
Yes, we're here.
Okay. So. Well,
can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you. But are you John Johnson?
No, I'm gonna go get him right now. Right now, okay, sir?
Okay. Mr. Rulo, what is?
So first I need to clarify what John Johnson's relationship is to Exotic Automotive. And then the second thing is Exotic Automotive is a limited liability corporation that will require an attorney.
Okay. All righty. Okay. Apparently this person was not standing by his or her computer at the time that the case was called.
Yes, we're right here. He's right here.
Okay, would you turn on your image so we can see you, please?
Turn it on. There you go. Start video.
And someone has background noise. So whoever has background noise, if you could get rid of the background noise.
Is the camera on?
No.
Start video. Okay, is the camera on?
Not yet.
I see myself. I don't know if it's on. Can you see me?
No.
I can see myself. I don't know.
Well, you can't see unless you can see us. That means your camera isn't on. Unless there's something, blocking your camera.
There's nothing blocking my camera. I see myself in the screen here, and I see you.
Okay, well, for purposes of this matter, we're going to continue on. Sir, Mr. Rulo, the lawyer for the city, had two principal questions. One, are you John Johnson?
Yes, I am.
What is your relationship to this 3317 Gall Street?
I'm the owner.
You're the owner of the property?
No, I'm the owner of the business, Exotic Automotive. I'm not the owner.
Okay, but who? Okay, so who received the violation notice?
He sent it to us, Exotic Automotive.
Okay,
Mr. Johnson, excuse me, if you say you're the owner, is Exotic Automotive an LLC?
I'm not following, sir. What did you say?
Is there a limited liability company that's the actual owner of the business?
No, we leased the building. We renting the building from JG Real Estate. That's the owner of the building.
If I may, I think I can clarify. The violation in this instance was for included an intent to cease operations for an auto repair business. It appears that the appellant here is the owner of the business, that auto repair business that's operating there. That auto repair business is Exotic Automotive. And based on the Pennsylvania Department of State's website, there is an Exotic Automotive LLC that appears to be the actual entity that is the owner and operator of the business. And that is why the city is reviewing, seeing that there is a business called Exotic Automotive, seeing that there's a business called Exotic Automotive LLC that is registered with the state. That's the records that I have.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, is that in fact your company at 3317 Gall Street?
Correct.
Okay, so as an LLC, which means it's a corporate entity, you must be represented by an attorney to participate in these hearings.
Okay.
So
they said they wanted to speak to the owner. That's why I'm on here. So if I need to get a lawyer.
Yeah, but now the notice that you received told you that.
No, they said
No, sir. The violation notice and the invitation to the appeals indicates that you must have an attorney if you are a corporate-owned entity. Okay, so you need to get a lawyer.
Okay.
Okay, because this is an intent to cease matter, which means your business could be closed.
Okay, sir. Okay. So
okay, and I would just ask that you please read all the communication that you get very carefully, because it could have a major negative impact on your company if you don't respond properly.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so
Yes,
Mr. Rulo, for this matter, it will be continued to allow him to secure legal counsel.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I might interrupt, I just want to indicate that the violation notice in order to correct is also issued to 3317-41 Gall Street, LLC. That's what's attached to Mr. Johnson's.
Okay.
His appeal application.
Yes.
There's a violation addressed to 3317-41 Gall Street, LLC. I don't see one for Exotic Automotive unless it's just not attached to the appeal.
Okay. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
You need to talk to the landlord because one or both of you may need to be present. Mr. Rulo, who's the attorney, Mr. Rulo, the violation notice is to the owner of the property or to the Exotic Automotive?
It was to the owner, and then there was an intent to cease, I believe, that was issued to the occupant of the property. So in these instances, for these auto repair, we generally allow the business operator to proceed in those instances. But at least for the purposes of today, I needed to clarify who Mr. Johnson was in relation either to the record owner, which Ms. Penn pointed out, or the business operator, which we now understand Mr. Johnson to be related to.
Okay, sir, you need have your attorney talk to the owner as well, because one or both of you guys may need to be present. But you certainly need to have an attorney at the next hearing.
Okay, you know when would that be?
Not moment. You'll get a notice in the mail. You get another communication. Thank you. Have a good day. Okay,
And
Mr. Rulo. Yeah.
Chairman, last matter would be number, excuse me, Number 4 on the list, appeal ending 573 1116 South Wilton Street, appellant Daniel Farrell, excuse me. We had a chance to speak, and actually, if the parties are agreeable to a short continuance, I think that we will be able to hopefully resolve this, and or the appellant will be able to comply the violations. So we would just be jointly requesting that continuance.
Okay, is anyone present? Daniel Farrell?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, the city is requesting a short continuance. Are you in agreement with that?
Yeah, I would just like someone to give me like a pathway forward to resolving this. I purchased.
Well, that's what Mr. Rulo is suggesting, that there be a conversation with you and him in a breakout room to discuss that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so you prepared to do that today, Mr. Rulo?
So the appellant and I have actually already spoken twice today.
Oh, you have? Okay.
I think that we can coordinate and have another conversation separate and apart from the breakout room. I don't think it's necessary right now.
Okay, all right. So he will be in touch with you, sir, so that you hopefully can resolve this before it's rescheduled.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mr. Rulo, were you reading number 45 into the record?
Mr. Rulo?
Yes, excuse me. Yes, turning to number 45, appeal ending 070-6618 North Bouvier Street. Appellant is an Evelyn Barlow. The board, we had a chance to talk in a breakout room a short while ago, and the parties were able to come to an agreement of a city affirm with a reduced fine of $300. I believe that the appellant might have left the hearing, but that was that confirmation was emailed to Mr. Wade and Mr. Moto a short while ago.
Okay, thank you. Is Evelyn Barlow present? Evelyn Barlow. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Rulo. She is not responding, so we will basically accept it. What you represented is to be factual. Okay. Thank you. Is that your last item, sir?
I hope so.
Okay. All righty. Let's move on then. Mr. Logue?
Good afternoon, board members. There are two matters I want to call your attention to. The first is case number 31 on our list, appeal ending 002965, address 2300 Cotton Ave, appellant Ray Richardson, doing business as R&R Produce Inc. There was a continuance request by the appellant, which I relayed to the board administration, and the city does not oppose that request.
Okay. Is anyone present representing Ray Richardson, R&R Produce? Again, this is another one of those matters that the appellant asked for a late appeal hearing because they missed the original appeal date. Is anyone present? And now
I don't see anyone present. To be fair, I think I may have indicated that since I didn't oppose the continuance request, that he did not need to appear. So my apologies for that.
Is it is there any reason as to why the appeal was requested?
No, I did plan to
the continuance was requested. My apologies, continuance. Well, I tell you what, we're going to list this, agree to the continuance, but it'd be on a must be heard basis.
That sounds good. Thank you, Chairman Woodson.
Thank you.
And the second and final matter I wanted to call your attention to.
Mr. Chair, before you move on.
Yes.
That's a business, R&R Produce, and there's no lawyer listed on it.
Yes, Mr. Logue, just to make certain that they are, if it comes before us again, that they're represented by legal counsel.
Will do, and that was the reason for the continuance, because he does not have legal counsel currently.
Okay, and given that was the reason, it will not be continued again for that reason.
Understood.
Thank you.
And my second matter is case number 47 on the list, appeal ending in 001534. Address 4253 North 16th Street, and the appellant is George Phillips Sr. I reached an agreement with Mr. Phillips to resolve that matter, and I shared a copy of the agreement with the board administration. The terms of that are a city affirm with a 90-day stay of enforcement.
90-day stay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and that concludes my preliminary matters.
Okay, thank you. Mr. John Bazarek?
Afternoon again, board members. This should just be quick. There is a joint continuance request for number 41 on the list, appeal ending 3018, addresses 5825 Willows Avenue. The appellant is Cassandra Whiters. Ms. Whiters had an appointment at 2:30 that she wanted to get to, and the city agrees with that and is asking for a joint continuance at this time. A short continuance would be great.
Okay, we will note it as a joint request for continuance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I spoke with counsel for Mr. Pulley of number 55 on the list, appeal ending 0076, address 237 South 48th Street. Excuse me. I spoke to him in the breakout room, and we weren't able to come to an agreement with respect to a disposition. And so I think that the status right now is the opposing counsel is going to request a continuance. If I can very briefly provide some background information.
Wait, is he present? Is the opposing counsel on the
Yes,
record?
I am here. Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm right here.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Fernandez, yes.
Yeah, if I could provide about 20 seconds of background. This is a vacant apartment building. There were originally violations for fire safety certifications and a handful of other property maintenance issues. All violations except for the fire safety system certifications have been resolved. The most recent inspection that occurred on Tuesday was to see if this apartment building would be accepted from the certifications requirements. They would qualify for an exception if all combustible materials had been removed from the premises. The inspection on Tuesday showed what I readily admit is a minor amount of combustible materials in the premises, a couple of old doors that had been removed and things of that nature, things that could be removed relatively quickly. I offered a city affirmed with a stay of enforcement disposition, but opposing counsel didn't want to agree to that because they worry that if they don't qualify for the exception, they want to reserve the ability to contest the need for certifications in the future. And so, and one other thing is the inspector who performed the inspection on Tuesday is out of the office today and unavailable. I'm prepared to proceed with a custodian of the record as the city's primary witness. But council wants to continue this with the expectation that this could be resolved as soon as next week when those combustibles are removed. The violations would probably be marked complied if those combustibles are removed and they no longer require the certifications.
Okay.
I'm opposing the request because the board has marked this must be tried, but I must admit that I do expect this matter to be resolved with the department within a couple of days, so long as the appellant removes those, couple of miscellaneous items from the premises.
Okay. Mr. Yanoff, any response?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I agree with what Mr. Fernandez just said. We believe this matter can be resolved well short of 30 days. There are very few items that need to be fixed. The building doesn't have any electric, doesn't have any water, so compliance with the certifications would be impossible anyway. But that's the reason why we didn't want to agree with the city affirm, because we don't have, those systems are not there because the building has been vacated and it's actually vacant at this particular moment and doesn't have electric or water. However, Mr. Fernandez is also right that these relatively minor matters can be resolved without a finding that we're in violation. And quite frankly, that's the reason for what we're asking for a very short continuance, recognizing that the board has already marked this as must be tried, but the matter is 95% short, 95% complete with 5% left to do and probably can be resolved within the next several weeks without any problem.
And Mr. Fernandez, is this the second or third time this has been listed?
I believe this is the third.
Second.
I think this is the third listing because I handled the first matter and then I believe Mr. Rulo handled a second listing. I'm fairly certain this is the third. I can.
Okay. Well, one open issue that has not been addressed in any of the cases thus far is that this is a serious timeliness issue. So, Mr. Yanoff, if this comes before us again, this is a serious timeliness issue here in terms of the original appeal. There's a nearly a year old.
And we very much understand that, Mr. Chair. But as I indicated, that we're nearly in compliance. And when the inspector who is not.
But the only thing I'm saying to you, sir, is that you may not get to make that argument if, in fact, we rule that you're untimely in your appeal.
I understood. I understand that completely. We're asking the board's indulgence because it eliminates a lot of appealable issues under those circumstances
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, I just want to note this is the fourth listing of this matter.
Fourth.
Thank
Okay.
you, Mr. Chair.
Is well exceeding our general tolerance for continuances. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Noted as continued. Okay. Anything else, Mr.
Chairman.
Fernandez?
No, that concludes all my matters for today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the rest of the board.
Yes. Mr. Yanoff,
May I be excused?
yes, sir. Unless
may
you
I
have
be
other
excused?
matters. Yes, sir. Please.
I do not.
Have
Thank you
good
so much,
afternoon.
sir. Have a good day. Thank you so much.
Okay. Is there anything else from anyone before the board identifies several matters that it needs some clarification? Okay. Let's see here. Number 15. This is 3025 C Street, last four digits 2641. Anthony Green. Who's representing the city?
That would be me, Board Chair, John Wazorek for the city.
Okay, is anyone present? Anthony Green. Anyone present representing Anthony Green? Okay, Mr. Wade, would you confirm service, please?
Mr. Green listed 5941 Ogons Avenue on his appeal form. Notice of this hearing was sent to 5941 Ogons Avenue, first floor on May 8th, 2024.
Okay, no one's responding. Mr. Reserve, what is your pleasure, sir?
The city would like to request a city affirm for failure to appear, but would also note there would have been objections to both standing and a late appeal if this appellant had showed up.
So noted. Mr. Pincus, what time do you have?
2:27 p.m.
2:27 p.m. Alrighty. With regard to HA 2023-002641, 3025 C Street, Anthony Green, city affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
Thank you very much. The next matter is item number 21, 4 digits 2875 at 4842 Palethrop Street, Lisa Roman. Who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, board members. Sean Logue for the city.
Mr. Logue, what about Lisa Roman? Anyone present representing the interests of Palethrop Street or Lisa Roman? Anyone present?
I do not see anyone.
Mr. Wade, confirm service, please.
Lisa Roman listed 4842 North Palethrop Street on her appeal. Notice that this hearing was sent to 4842 North Palethrop Street on May 8th, 2024.
Okay, no one's responding. Mr. Logue, what is your preference?
Yeah, I would just like to note that like my colleague, I did plan to raise the timeliness issue. That the appeal was untimely by about 11 months. But given the appellant's failure to appear, the city would request city affirm for failure to appear.
Okay, what time do we have, Mr. Pincus?
2:28 p.m.
2:28 p.m. We will now poll the board for HA-2023-002875 4842 Palethrop Street, Lisa Roman, city affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
Thank you very much. Okay, number 54. Last four digits 0348 7401 Edmund Street, Paul Santos. Who represents that matter?
Oh, my apologies. That's me again. Sean Logue for the city.
Okay, Mr. Santos, Paul Santos, or anyone else present representing the interests of 7401 Edmund Street? Anyone present? Okay, Mr. Wade, if you will confirm service.
The appeal was, the appellant's name was 7401 Edmund Street LLC. Paul Santos, his listed address was 7401 Edmund Street as appeal. Notice of this hearing was sent to Paul Santos at 7400 Edmund Street on May 13th, 2024.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
is it 7400 or 7401 Edmund Street?
My listing shows 01. Mr. Wade, what is the? Well, it may be two different addresses. Depends on the appellant's personal address and the property at course.
No, I have 7401 as well, and it looks like the notice was sent to 7400.
Okay, so the notice was sent to 7400 and the property at issue is 7401?
Yes, and the appellant's address was 7401.
Okay, so it's possible that the notice went to the vacant property?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do this. Mr. Logue, it doesn't appear, there may be some question as to service in this matter, so we need to continue this so we can relist it.
Understood, and I'll try to get
Okay.
in touch with the appellant in the meantime.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, members of the board.
Which one was that, Mr. Chair?
That was number 54. Someone just broke in?
I did. I'm the custodian of record for the 7401 Edmund Street violations.
Yes.
Okay, so I've received, sorry.
Well, no. You need to talk to Mr. Logue. You guys can go in a breakout room if you want.
So I'm just a custodian of records, but Caitlin and myself both received correspondence from the owner.
Okay, Mr. Martin, listen to me. Listen carefully. Okay. You've been called as a witness by Mr. Logue?
Correct.
Okay, the two of you need to go in a breakout room to discuss whatever you want to present, and he can convey that to the board. Okay, so Mr. Logue, what I will do, I will keep the record open. We'll come back to this in a moment after you had a chance to speak with Mr. Martin. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I won't. This matter is not yet continued. We need to hear from Mr. Logue again. Okay.
I'm giving them a breakout room?
Yes, please. Okay. Let's move on to number 56, 4 digits, 0826. That's 1919 West Hunting Park Avenue. Walida MacArthur, Tiona Sutton, and Derek Sutton. Who's representing the city?
Good afternoon again, board members. Michael Rulo on behalf of the city.
Okay, is anyone present representing 1919 West Hunting Park Avenue?
Yes, we're here.
Okay, who's we?
The owners.
I need names.
Walida MacArthur, Tiana Sutton, and I have a letter from Derek Sutton stating that we can represent because there's 3 of us.
Okay, and we need, okay. All of you, the 3 names are on the deed?
Yes.
Is there a corporation also on the deed?
No.
Okay, just for a moment. Okay, the city, what is your response to that?
The only 2 parties, unless there's been an updated version of a deed that I haven't seen, are a Tiana Sutton and a Derek Sutton, who were the cited parties in the violation that's at issue here.
Okay, and so Derek Sutton is not present, correct?
No, he's not present, but I am the one that
No, ma'am, listen to us. Listen to us. Okay, and only one person will speak at a time. Is Derek Sutton and yourself are the 2 people listed cited on the violation, correct?
No, I am also on there.
Okay, Mr. Rulo, give us the violation notice again, please.
The violation notice, which is file number CF 2022-103-846, lists the responsible parties as Tiana Sutton and Derek Sutton.
Tiana Sutton and Derek Sutton. Okay, and Tiana Sutton is you, ma'am?
Man.
And who is, ma'am?
I am Walida MacArthur.
No. I'm asking for Tiana Sutton.
I'm Tiana Sutton.
Okay, so you're the only one present whose name is on the listed as a responsible party in the violation, correct?
Correct.
And where's Derek Sutton?
He's not here. He's not available. He's in the hospital. He's sick.
Okay, now that's what I need the legal people to tell me. How do we proceed, if we can proceed?
We have a notarized letter from him.
Now that's not. I was asking for a response from my lawyer.
Oh.
I guess.
Okay.
from the city's perspective, is we haven't seen any sort of power of attorney form or other letter providing any sort of authorization here. And it sounds like there is one that is in their possession. I think that we would need to review that before we could determine whether or not they could proceed in this fashion. Although I will leave that to Mr. McSherry. I would just like to note, though, for the record, that the other outstanding issue on this appeal is that it was very untimely.
Okay.
It was initially issued in October of 2022, and the appeal was not filed until January of 2023 by Ms. Baditza Cadillo.
Okay. Mr. McSherry, what is your advice in this matter?
Yeah, so to the extent that, again, there's three owners of the property. Two of them are here. One has submitted a letter giving authority. I think ultimately I reviewed the letter. It's not exactly a power of attorney letter. It's simply a sentence from purportedly from Mr. Sutton, indicating that he's giving permission for Ms. MacArthur to represent him in this matter. I can forward that to counsel for the city. If counsel received does not have an issue with it, I would not either.
Okay. Okay. Let's forward that to Mr. Rulo. Mr. Rulo, take a look at that letter.
Okay. I guess I'm also just a bit confused. Is Ms. MacArthur an attorney?
No, I am one of the owners. That's why I was trying to explain to the chairman. He's the one who told me the last meeting that I had to get Tiana Sutton and Derek Sutton on the meeting or get a letter stating that they letting me represent the building. And all of this is confusion because this been going on for almost 3 to 4 years.
Okay. All right. But in fact, we've asked for the letter, but and so we're going to ask the letter that the board has to be shared with the attorney for the city to see, in fact, the city's comfortable proceeding. That's what we're going to do next.
Okay.
Mr. Rulo, take a look at that. Again, this has been continued a number of times. But you should also understand that we have to understand the tardiness matter. It could get this matter dismissed. So we need to, don't say anything else. You should know that that's what we will do. First of all, if we proceed, that'll be the first matter to be addressed. Understood?
Yes.
Okay, so be prepared to respond, and I will ask only one person to be the spokesperson. And I would ask if if there are other people in the round, if they could get out of the screen so that we aren't seeing them, and they certainly shouldn't be speaking so that we don't want to hear them as well, because it creates confusion if there are multiple people talking in the background. So just be patient with us. What I'm going to do while we're dealing with that matter, I'm going to go on to number 60. Hopefully Mr. Rulo isn't dealing with this. Let's move on to number 60. That's 1-872-3860 Coral Street, William Russell.
Yes.
Okay, sir, you're William Russell. Just for a moment. Who's representing the city in this matter?
Good afternoon, Board. Caitlin Carmody on behalf of the city.
Good afternoon, Ms. Carmody. Mr. Russell, the issue here is that one of the issues, I believe, is what is your relationship to this address, 3860 Coral Street?
The rent.
I'm sorry?
We rent from the owner.
Oh, you're a tenant in the building?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of building is this?
A commercial building.
Okay, you have a lease?
Yes.
And who is the well, let me ask it this way. Is the tenant the person who signed the lease, is it a company or an individual, you?
Individual.
Okay. Now we do have some timeliness matters in terms of when this appeal was submitted. Ms. Carmody, do you it appears according to our record that the violation was in March 26 to 24, but the appeal wasn't submitted until May of 24?
Yes, and this was appealed on an emergency basis, which the city did not oppose based on the violations on the property. We agree that it should be heard on an emergency basis, but the city did just want to also bring up that Mr. Russell, I believe, is a member of the LLC, Our Family Savage LLC, which is the entity leasing the property in question.
Is that the case, Mr. Walker?
Yes.
I thought you said it was you in your name.
It's the building is in my name. I mean, the lease is in my name, but the company is in my name also.
So you signed the lease on behalf of the company.
Yes.
So that's the LLC.
Yes. I apologize. I worded it wrong. I'm sorry.
So in fact, you got a problem. And this is the intent to cease. You need a lawyer. Did you saw the letter, right? Why did you bring a lawyer with you today?
It didn't say any when
Yes,
we
on the violation notice, it says you need a lawyer if you're a corporately owned organization.
when we came down here to fill out it, she said that we didn't need an attorney.
Okay. When you read the violation notice, it tells you clearly that you need a lawyer if you are corporately owned.
Okay. Is it possible we can get a continuation so I can
Well, this is
obtain
an
this
intent. Well, the problem is that this is an intent to cease, and we are hearing this as an emergency. So that's a real serious matter for us.
Okay.
Miss, well, let's do this. Ms. Carmody, what's your view of that? What's your response to this?
The city prepared the matter to go forward today as an emergency, given the circumstances of the violations at the property. So the city is prepared to proceed. However, if they need an attorney to represent their interests, I would leave that to the board's discretion.
Okay, let's do this. Given the nature of this, I need a short 3-minute discussion with the board counsel. If the board could join me in a breakout room, Mr. Wade.
You have it at the bottom.
Thank you. Seven 3850 Carl Street, William Russell. Ms. Carmen, we're going to proceed today. So we will call it in order. Mr. Russell, please stand by. We will call you in regular order for today's hearing. Okay?
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Mr.
All
Chair.
right. Yes.
May I ask the attorney who is the custodian record here to make sure that they will be here at the time that we proceed with this particular?
Ms. Carmody, who's your witness?
My witness is Inspector Tamika BLIR.
Okay, thank you. Was there any issues with time?
Timers?
Not that I know of.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether we should have discussed this in an executive session. Do we still have an issue of timeliness?
In this matter, when we call it, we will ask the appellant to address that matter. But given the serious natures of the violation, we wanted to hear the city's position in terms of why it has to be an intent to cease. And what do we do about that? So it will be addressed as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's I think we have one outstanding matter. Is that Mr. Logue? Yes, Mr. Logue.
Hi, good afternoon again, Board Chair. So I spoke to Inspector Higgins in the breakout room, and it seems Mr. Santos has another violation, and rather than paying an attorney, he decided he would pay a fine. But it's different than this appeal, and given the service issue, I'm not really comfortable saying that this would go the same way. So I think a continuance probably makes sense, and I'll dedicate to Mr. Santos.
Well, which address is that? I'm losing track here.
Sure. Sorry, this is case number 54. The address is 7401 Edmond Street.
Okay.
I think Mr. Wade said the notice went to 7400 Edmond Street.
Okay, so the record should note that matter has been continued for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, I think the issue of number 56 of what 1919 West Hunting Park Avenue is still open. I think Mr. Rulo, are you present?
Yeah, the city's not going to object to proceeding with the exception that we are maintaining our timeliness objection. I did have a chance to review what was submitted, and I was able to confirm that I'm sorry, I don't see her name up on the screen now, is in fact on the deed for the property.
Okay, so we will call this in regular order. So just stand by and be patient. Thank you. Okay. Okay, then let's go back up to the top. Mr. Wade.
Case number 12. Hearing
Mr.
appeal.
Chair.
Yes.
Hi, Jason Greenspan on behalf of the city. I do have an intent to cease and I have an inspector that is unavailable after 4 p.m. I just raised that because I know you did
Oh, okay.
Board member Tennant did raise that. So I just
Okay.
that's number 58 on the list. It's HA 2024 001967.
Okay, let's do this. The matter number 12, we'll hear that, then we go directly to 58.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do number 12, then we do 58.
Case number 12, hearing appeal ending 2620, 2710 Brown Street, Evangelos Stefano.
Mike
Okay.
Rulo on behalf of the city of Philadelphia.
Afternoon, Mr. Rulo. Anyone present representing 2710 Brown Street? Evangelos Stefano. Evangelos Stefano. No one is responding. Okay. Mr. Wade, would you confirm service, please?
Mr. Stefano listed 2710 Brown Street on his appeal as well as his late appeal. Notice was sent to 2710 Brown Street on May 6, 2024.
Okay. What's the city's preference? There's been a response.
City affirmed for lack of appearance, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will poll the. Oh, what time do you have, Mr. Pincus?
2:52 p.m.
2:52 p.m. We will poll the board regarding HA-2023-002620-2710 Brown Street, Evangelos Stefano. City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
Thank you very much.
Non-appearance.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Case number 58. Hearing appeal ending 1967, 6340 Sherwood Road, Susan Kassar.
Good afternoon, Jason Greenspan on behalf of the city.
Good afternoon. Who's representing the appellant, Susan Kassar? Susan Kassar. Anyone present representing the interests of 6340 Sherwood Road?
Me,
And your name, ma'am?
Susan Kassar.
Susan Kassar?
It's Susan, but they do it Susan.
Okay, would you spell it correctly for us then, please?
Sausan.
Sausan, Susan Kassar. My apologies. Okay, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You can place your hand down. And before we proceed, though, ma'am, what is your relationship to this property at 6340 Sherwood Road?
The owner.
Pardon me?
I'm the owner of the property.
Anyone else on the deed with you?
No.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty. So let's proceed then. Do we have Mr. Greenspan? Do you have a witness?
I do. It's Inspector Faulkner. If he could be unmuted and camera on. Do I see him? There he is. Okay.
I'm here.
If I may, though, Chair, just by way of introduction. So this case relates to a zoning violation that was inspected, that was cited as a rooming house. You'll just hear and we'll present evidence of the indication that it is a rooming house, along with other fire code violations that were cited. That's all I have for now. If I may,
Okay.
I would like to call Inspector Faulkner.
Okay. Inspector Faulkner, if you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn. Well, I don't think I see Inspector Faulkner.
I'm at the top of the screen next to Mr. Greenspan.
Okay. If you would speak up, Mr. Faulkner, because you haven't appeared on my screen.
I'm on the top of the screen next to Mr. Greenspan.
Well, that may not be the case, but I see you on my screen. It's not always the way you see.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
I'm definitely here though.
I see you, Mr.
Okay, because I don't see him at all, which is kind of odd here. Just one moment. Something's happening.
Mr. Woodson, there are 3 screens I note.
Okay. Now I see him. Something else was, yeah, my apologies, Mr. Faulkner. Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Greenspan?
Thank you. May I share my screen?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Just 1 second. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Apologies. Inspector Faulkner, if you could just introduce yourself to the board.
Inspector Sean Faulkner, Code Enforcement Inspector, Licenses and Inspections, City of Philadelphia.
And Inspector Faulkner, have you had a chance to review the records for the property located at, excuse me, I'm so sorry, 6340 Sherwood Road?
Yes.
And in the course of your review, did you, were photographs saved in the course of business during an inspection in April of this year?
Yes.
Okay. And have you reviewed those records and files for the property at 6340 Sherwood
Yes.
Road? Okay.
Yes.
First, does that property have a an active renter's license?
It does not.
And what is the zoning for the property at 6340 Sherwood Road?
Single family dwelling.
Okay. And there is no active use permit that would permit for a rooming house currently. Is that accurate?
I looked, I did not see anything.
Okay. I'm going to show you a set of photographs which we have previously marked in our exhibit as C8 through C18. And apologies, it's a little zoomed in. Just give me 1 second.
Just a second.
I'm sorry, may I proceed?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been previously marked as C8. Do you recognize this photograph, Mr. Faulkner?
Front exterior of 6340 Sherwood Road.
Okay. And again, I'm going to show you now a set of photographs which we're going to mark C9 through 18. Are these photographs in the record of the Sherwood address?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And when you reviewed them, and I'm looking again, particularly, this is a photograph that's been identified as C11. Are these individually numbered doors?
Yes, they are.
And what does that indicate to you?
That most likely someone is renting out rooms numbered as such.
Okay. So we have a room identified as number 2. There's a door identified as number 3. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Greenspan, can you focus in on the door handle in number 3, if you would, please, if that's possible?
Can you see that?
Only that I wanted to see the lock on the door. I can't see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Photograph number 2. Well, door number 2, you can see the lock on the door of that.
Yeah, I can see it on number 2. I just looking for number 3.
And again, what does an individual lock indicate, Inspector Faulkner?
Someone wants to keep another occupant out of their space.
Okay.
Securing the door.
Okay. I'm going to show you a photograph which has been previously identified as city exhibit. And I apologize, the exhibits are small. 13. What is this? What is this picture of?
Fire extinguisher, which is outdated.
Okay. And just so that the board understands, if it was up to date, what would the fire extinguisher have?
It would be have a punch with 2023 or 2024.
Okay. And the one currently in the photograph has what?
2019.
Okay. And again, I'm going to look at photograph number exhibit 15. Is this another picture of a door
with a number on it? Yes.
And what's that number?
Labeled number 5.
Okay. And again, what does that indicate to you on your experience?
Renting out rooms.
Okay. In picture number previously identified as city exhibit number 16, what is this a picture of?
Kitchen area.
And if you look at the top left of the photograph, can you read what it says?
Can you make sure the refrigerator is closed?
And again, what does that indicate to you as an inspector?
Numerous occupants, everybody needing to adhere to the rules of the house.
Thank you. And again, I'm going to show you what's been previously identified as city exhibit 17. What is this?
Trash in the basement.
Okay. And was this cited as a violation?
It was.
And what was that violation?
Basement. Waste accumulation prohibited. Combustible storage.
Okay. Thank you. And again, this is the final photograph, and this is city exhibit 18. Is that the same violation?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for now. Based off those, your review of the record, did you make a determination as to whether this met the qualification as a rooming house?
It did.
Okay. And did the department issue an intent to cease based off that inspection?
We did, and also we was led in by one of the occupants there who's claimed and stated that he is renting a room.
Okay. That's all I have for now. Thank you, Inspector.
Okay. Ms. Kassan, do you have any cross-examination questions for the inspector, Mr. Faulkner?
Yes. I'd like to ask, I don't see how having a sign on the refrigerator saying close the refrigerator door means that it's a rooming house, number one. Number two.
Okay, wait. If you ask him a question, let him respond to you. And then you can ask your next question.
So how does that make when you have a sticker on the refrigerator door?
Wait, there's a problem. We can't, ma'am, we're having a problem hearing you. Court reporter, are you picking this up?
Chair, no, I'm not. I was about to mention that. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Kassan, are you close enough to your device or you have multiple devices on?
Yes, I'm close to it.
Okay, is there anyone else in your space who may also have maybe tuned into this Zoom?
No, I'm alone.
Do you have like a telephone or something recording this separately? Because we're getting an echo.
No, I don't.
Okay, just one moment. Mr. Wade, is there anything else we need to do?
Mr. Chair, could you ask her to speak up?
I will do that, yes.
She's not speaking up.
Yeah. Mr. Wade, is there anything else technically that we need to do so that we...
I don't believe so.
Okay. Ms. Kassan, I'd ask, though, that if you could speak up and speak directly into the microphone, that would help, okay? Because this is being recorded by a court reporter, so he needs to be able to record each word that you speak, okay? All right, thank you. Now, your question was, how does the note on the door suggest that it's a boarding house, correct? Was that your question?
Refrigerator. What does that make that a boarding house?
Okay, Mr. Faulkner.
In my 12 years of experience, single-family dwellings where families actually reside there do not have numbers on rooms, on doors. Also, they don't usually have signage on refrigerators and appliances of the use.
Okay.
In my experience of 12 plus years.
Okay, Mr. Faulkner, Mr. Faulkner, no narrative, just respond directly to the question, and I think you've done that.
Okay.
Ms. Kassan, do you have any additional questions?
Yes, and with regards to the numbers on the door, as you can see, I did do some renovation to the house, and it had to be painted.
Ms. Kassan, what is your question? You have to ask a question, and later you can give testimony, but at the moment, please ask a specific question.
All right, well, that was the question that was, because I found it very strange that...
Okay, that's your only question?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Mr. Chair, we're still, I believe, having a great deal of difficulty hearing Ms. Kassar.
Yeah, we're going
Mr.
to, this is,
Chair,
yes.
I believe you asked Ms. Kassar whether she had two devices, phone and iPod or computer on. I did not clearly hear her answer, so if we can ask her again, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, Ms. Kassar, do you have more than one device open recording this meeting?
I don't. I just have my laptop and that's it.
Okay, she just.
Earpods?
No.
Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman, I'm sorry, but I'm getting the echo from other persons speaking also. I heard that echo on when Mr. Tennant spoke, and also a little bit when you were asking Ms. Kassar to clarify. So I don't know if it's something within the Zoom system itself that's causing that. I don't believe it's just her alone.
Okay. Well, we do have IT support, so Mr. Wade, if you could give us a check in and give us a solution.
I'm going to put her in the waiting room and bring her back in that.
Okay. Ms. Kassar, we're going to take you out and bring you back, okay?
I can hear when the chairman's speaking.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And I only have one device on.
I'm hearing an echo now as well.
Okay, Mr. Wade, would it make sense for everyone to go out and come back, or is that too drastic?
I think that might be too drastic. Do you hear it when I speak?
No.
No, I think that might be too drastic.
I just didn't hear when Ken spoke either. I just heard it when I spoke. Yes.
Yeah. Oh boy.
How about when I speak?
Not so much.
Mr. Faulkner, can you say a few more words?
Sure. How's everybody doing today?
Anything on him?
But I did hear it when you spoke, Mr. Tennant.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Hear it as well.
I think at the very least, we're going to ask everyone to mute except for the individual who's speaking. And that means that we'll have to be extra careful in terms of allowing people to finish and then come in. So I will also mute myself if I'm not speaking.
It seems to be gone, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so short term, that's going to be the only way to get through this. So I will mute myself as well. And I'd ask everyone to do the same thing unless you're speaking. And to be honest, what we'll need to do is, to the degree that's practicable, please use the raise hand signal, then I'll call on you. Okay, thank you. Mr. Wade, did we bring Ms. Kassar back in?
Yes. I'm asking her to unmute now.
Okay. All right, Ms. Kassar. Mr. Greenspan, well, let me ask it this way. Ms. Kassar, did you have any additional questions for Mr. Faulkner, the inspector?
Well, since I just want to know, does he have any leases showing that it's a rooming house?
Okay, Mr. Faulkner, unmute and respond.
I'm not privy to any leases.
Okay. Thank you. All righty. Mr. Greenspan, do you have any additional witnesses or any additional testimony?
No additional witness, no additional evidence. I do have rebuttal if Ms. Kassan does testify. Okay,
we will, of course, invite final argument at the end. You also have an opportunity to cross-examine Ms. Kassar. Okay, Ms. Kassar, this is your opportunity now to put your case on.
All right. So I'm the owner of 6340 Sherwood Road. I live there with my uncle and my cousins. And on April 30th, an inspector came into the house and spent only 3 minutes in the house, said it was a rooming house, road violations. And I find it very strange because, number one, I don't see anything wrong with living in a house with your family. It's a 6-bedroom house. So family cannot live together, number one. And number two, the person who let them in was actually a tenant. That I wouldn't lie. He was a family friend who had fallen on hard times. He had gone through a divorce, so he was staying with us and he was chipping in. with, you know, the utilities and the mortgage, but he wasn't paying anymore. So we asked him to leave. So I guess that's when he decided to call the city and then claim, I don't know, and let them in and do whatever, you know. So that's all I know. And that's my property and I live there.
Okay, Mr. Greenspan, any cross-examination?
Yes, thank you. Miss Kazan, so your testimony today is that you do not rent the property. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's my primary residence and I live there with my family.
Okay.
My extended family. Yeah.
How many people live there?
Right now, plus me, we're 5.
Okay. Would it be inaccurate if I said that the property was listed on real estate sites for rent?
That's what I said. I had a tenant who was in there.
Okay. So did you ever have a renter's license?
Yes, I did. Because at one point I was renting it out to students, which I stopped doing. Yeah.
And when was that?
Oh, I can't remember. It's about 4 or 5 years ago, I think. Yeah.
So from 4 or 5 years ago, you never made that renter's license active again. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. And it's your position is because you had only family members living there. Is that accurate?
Exactly.
Okay. Did you ever obtain an affidavit of non-rental from the department saying that you were no longer renting the property?
No, I didn't. I didn't know I had to do that. Yeah.
Board, permission to share my screen again?
Yes.
Thank you. Ma'am, can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a screenshot from the website Zillow. Are you familiar with Zillow is?
Yes.
Okay. Zillow is a website that lists property for rent and for sale. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay. Is this a photo? And again, I apologize that it's dark, but is this a photo of your property?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see that it's listed for rent currently? This was, and again, I'm going to try and zoom in, but this picture is dated 6/6 of 24.
Well, I don't know who did that, but that's not me. Probably the guy who moved out is just trying to, I don't know.
Okay.
But
I'm going to show you another one. Again, this is a different website. And again, I believe it's Redfin, but I apologize if it's not right.
That's not.
Again, this is dated 6/6 of 24. Let me finish my question. It has the property listed for rent, and you're saying you didn't do that?
No.
Okay. Stop sharing for now. So, ma'am, you mentioned that there's 5 people living in the property
Yes.
currently. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're all family members.
Yes.
Okay. What is their let's go through it. What is their relationship to you?
My uncle, his 2 sons, and then I have actually 2 uncles that are retired, then his 2 sons, and then me.
Okay. So can you tell me how old are the children?
How old are the children?
Yes.
Oh, one is a teenager and one is in his 20s, I think early 20s. Yeah.
Okay. And does each door have separate locks on them?
No, not each door. No.
That's all the questions I have right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions of Ms. Kassan? Okay. Ms. Kassan.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Kassan, how long was you overseas?
I was for like a month and a half. Yeah.
When did you leave and when did you come back?
When did I leave and when did I come back? I came back in May.
May?
Yeah.
So that means you left in April?
Yes.
So was you there when the inspector came?
No, I wasn't.
Because you was overseas, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so but I know since you was overseas, how can you just disclaim what the inspector was saying if you don't even know what was going on?
Because I saw it on camera. We had it there. There's a camera there. So I saw when he came in for like 3 minutes and then left.
And what does that
mean? I know. So whatever happens, they would let me know that this is what happened.
No. You made a statement. He came to your house and spent 3 minutes.
Yes.
What do that mean?
No, I'm just saying, like, he came, spent 3 minutes, and then left, and then said it's a rooming house.
And you wasn't there, so you don't know, right?
No, I wasn't there, but I was told. And I saw him on camera. He
so
was
you
just
seen him come in.
Yes.
And make the statement that this is a rooming house.
Yes.
I thought you just said you was told.
No, I'm saying I was told he came in there, and I also saw the footage. That's what I mean.
Mr. Chair, I don't have any more questions.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kassan, you indicated earlier that you did in fact rent to students at one time. How long did you rent to students?
Oh, I can't remember. I have to. I mean, it's been a while. So
Okay, help me out here. When did you buy the house?
I bought the house in 2002. Yeah.
Okay, 2002, and this is now 2024. So, uh, when did you start renting to students, and how long did you rent to students?
I think maybe I did it for maybe 4 years, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Did you register? Did you get a rental license during that time?
Yes, I did.
As a rooming house?
No, 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 no.
How did you? What kind of license did you get if it was a single family house?
That's a rental license. Yeah.
Were you living there at the same time?
Mm.
I didn't understand your response.
No, no, I wasn't living there.
Oh, so initially you were not living in the house, you just rented it out.
Yeah. I had someone from Section 8 and then student, and then I'm like, they're not taking care of the house, so I might as well move into the house myself.
Okay. So have you rented any rooms to anyone since you've been a resident?
That's what I'm telling you, that someone moved in and he's the one who let them in, but he's a friend of my cousin, and he had a divorce. He had been through a divorce and he needed a place to stay. So he was just supposed to be there for 6 months and chip in with the utilities and, whatever bills came up. But then he wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you rented to anyone else?
No.
I haven't finished my questions. Have you rented to anyone else aside from your family during the time that you resided there yourself?
No.
Pardon me?
No, that's the person I told you.
I didn't hear your answer. That's why I'm asking. That's why I said, pardon me. I didn't hear your answer. The answer is no, correct?
The family friend who moved in.
Ma'am, the answer to my question is no, correct? Did you hear my question?
Well, you asked me that since I moved in, have I rented to someone else?
Other than that, your family, other than that individual, anyone else?
No, no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, please.
I just want to go over two things. You say you have one or two uncles that live with you in the property. How many uncles?
2 retired uncles. Yeah.
2 uncles and their children, their sons or daughters or
sons.
Their sons. So the total. So if you have 2 uncles and you say there are 5 people living in the house, that would make you the third person. Who are the other 2?
No, two uncles, there are 2 sons and me, making it 5.
Okay, right. So there's 2 uncles that you have 2 cousins and you that live in the house.
Yes.
Do they contribute? Do they pay rent or do they contribute to the maintenance and cost of the house?
Yes.
They make payments to you. Is that correct?
Yes, we all chip in. I'm not going to let someone stay in my house and not contribute. I mean.
Okay.
And do they live in rooms that have separate door locks and numbers?
They live in the rooms.
And
I
their
mean,
rooms have separate locks. Is that correct?
not all of them, no.
Thank you.
Okay, someone else have a question?
Yeah, I do, Chairman.
Yes.
Why are the rooms numbered?
They've been numbered for a long time. It wasn't recent. It's been like when I was doing some renovations to the house, like I redid the kitchen and I did some painting and stuff like that, and we numbered it so we know that okay, we're done with this room and that room. And it was not a big deal to me. I didn't know that having numbers on your door meant it's a rooming house. So now that I know, it's gonna be off.
Why are there keyed locks to the rooms?
Some people want their privacy, and it's not all the rooms that have keyed locks.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Can I just ask
Chair,
a
I have a
follow-up?
question.
Oh, sorry.
Ms. Kazar, I have a question. Can you narrow down the date of the last time you rented to a college student?
I can't. I don't have that information handy.
But you're the owner of the property and you don't know the last time you had an outsider unrelated to you living in your property that you were collecting rent for. You don't know
Well,
that
the
date.
last time it'll be about 4 or 5 years ago.
About 4 or 5 years ago. So if we go with 4 years ago, that would put it beyond 2021.
4 or 5 years ago, something like that.
Thank you.
Okay.
I do have one further question.
Yes.
Have you put any notices anywhere that you have a room to rent in the property?
No.
Thank you.
Can I just a follow-up based off
yes, please,
questions of the board? Ms. Kassan, you agree with me that you own other properties in the city of Philadelphia, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And have you listed any of those other properties as your primary residence?
No, 6340 is my primary residence.
Okay. So if I told you that you agree with me that you own 5607 Winfield Avenue, is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. And if I were to show you that the address that you list for service is that address, that would be actually incorrect.
What will be incorrect?
Let me rephrase it so you understand. The address that you get mail at for 5607 Winfield, what is that address?
It's 5607 Winfield.
Okay, so you don't let me ask you this. Do you rent 5607 Winfield?
Yes.
Okay, do you have an active renter's license for that property?
No.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Ms. Kasara, is there any reason why you don't have a renter's license for 5607 Winfield?
Well, there are lots of violations that I need to clear before, and the tenant, they won't give me access to the property. So that's another issue. So.
Okay. On your driver's license and your voting record, what address do you use?
6340 Sherwood Road.
Okay. In addition to Winfield Avenue, how many other properties do you own, either in Philadelphia or in the surrounding area?
That's it.
Just those two properties?
Mm.
I didn't hear your response.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for Ms. Kassar.
Yes.
5607 Winfield Avenue, rental license have been inactive since April the 29th, 2021.
Yeah.
Is it accurate to say that you are still renting there currently? You have a renter in that property?
Currently, yes, I do.
And your statement was the license is inactive because you have current violations on that property?
Yes.
And so those violations have been there for more than 3 years?
I don't know how long it's been. I have to check.
Well,
I think
if the rental license expired in 21, you have not renewed it because you have active violations.
I think the violations think it was in 2022. I think
Okay,
so.
so they have not currently been satisfied in order for you to acquire your rental license.
Yes, I have fixed some of the issues, but there's some other issues too that haven't been fixed. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? If not, I will invite Mr. Greenspan to make final argument. Ms. Kassar, if you have any final comments you'd like to make before the city does, you may do so now. Then Mr. Greenspan will close.
No, I don't have any.
Okay, thank you.
Thank,
Mr. Greenspan?
yes, thank you, Chair, and thank you, members of the board. Look, I'll just say this. I think the board has the ability to evaluate the credibility here. I think you hear from the inspector, and based on his experience as an inspector and evaluating the way that this structure is set up, and the fact that Ms. Kazan hasn't proffered any credible evidence that this is anything other than a rental property, to me would indicate that the board has every indication that they can make a finding that this is in fact a rooming house. And at the end of the day, I want to say this. If the inspectors go in there when they are going to effectuate a cease operations and make a determination that they are in fact relatives and they are in fact not renting it, they don't want to cease these buildings as well. So they're only going to cease them because they are actually renting these properties out. They received a complaint from an occupant who was, renting, as the inspector stated. I will just, leave that credibility determination to the board. I think it's very reasonable for the board to understand the numbering, the locking, and the fact that there's directions on the fridge about how to handle certain things, that it's a rental property. And she's admitted that there is no active renter's license. There's no active zoning permit that will allow this use. So for those reasons, I would ask the board to affirm the violations that have been cited. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Greenspan, one thing I just want to clarify. You raised the issue of 5607 Winfield. Is that noted as the mailing address for the appellant?
No, that is another address that Ms. Kassan owns. And the reason why was I was going to show, and it was only proffered for this, Chair. It was proffered to show that you can't find that this owner credible because she has another renter's property with open violations that is a rental property that's not an active rental property.
Okay.
And this is sort of the purpose of bringing that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. If there's anything else, if not, if no one else has anything.
Chair, before we vote, can we go executive session?
Yes, we can go off the record for about 3 minutes. Thank you.
(009) 5231 Greenway Avenue, Espin Trust.
Okay. Okay. Is anyone present representing the interests of 5231 Greenway Avenue? Anyone present? Okay. Mr. Wade, if you would confirm service, please.
13 Lorianne Road, Warren, New Jersey, was listed on the appeal. Notice of this hearing was sent to that address on May 10th, 2024.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fernandez, your preference?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Hearing no response to the call of this matter and adding that I sent a number of emails about this hearing to the email address listed on the application for appeal and heard no response there, I would ask that this matter be dismissed for failure to appear.
Okay, thank you very much. The time, Mr. Pincus?
3:54 p.m.
3:54 p.m. We will now poll the board on HA-2023-003009, 5231 Greenway Avenue, Ran Parrick. My apologies. I will spell that first name R-A-N, last name P-A-R-I-K-H, doing business as S-PAN Trust, E-S-P-A-N Trust. City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed, non-appearance.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Wade, what do we do next?
Case number 50, hearing appeal ending 1468, 5663 Pentridge Street, Jaleel Parlin.
Jaleel Parlin. Okay, who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, Michelle Reinhardt for the City of Philadelphia.
Afternoon, Ms. Reinhardt. Anyone present representing 5663 Pentridge Street, Jaleel Parlin? Jaleel Parlin. Anyone present? 5663 Pentridge Street. Anyone present? Okay.
52, Jaleel Parlin listed 5231 Locust Street as the appellant's address. Notice of this hearing was sent to 5231 Locust Street on May 13th, 2024.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Reinhardt, what's your preference?
I would request city affirm for non-appearance.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pincus, what time do we have?
3:56 p.m.
3:56 p.m. Alrighty. HA-2023-001-468-5663 Pentridge Street, Jaleel Parlin, city affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed, non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed, non-appearance.
Thank you very much. That matter is resolved. Let's go to the next matter.
Case number 52, hearing appeal ending 1485, 5226 Osage Ave, Richard Good.
Good afternoon, Michelle Reinhardt for the City of Philadelphia.
Good afternoon. Mr. Richard Good. Richard Good. Richard Good. Anyone present representing the interests of 5226 Osage Avenue? Anyone present? Anyone present representing the interests of Osage Avenue? Okay. Mr. Wade, please confirm service.
The appellant listed 5226 Osage Avenue as the appellant's address. Notice this hearing was sent to 5226 Osage Avenue on May 16th, 2024.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Reinhardt, what is your preference?
The city requests city affirm for non-appearance.
Okay, time, Mr. Pincus?
3:57 p.m.
3:57 p.m. Thank you very much. Alrighty. We will poll the board on HA-2023-001-485-5226 Osage Avenue, Richard Good. City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed, non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed, non-appearance.
Thank you very much. I believe that takes us to 56, Mr. Wade.
Yes, I'd just like to point out to Ms.
Mr. Chair, this is a
Pardon
quick
me?
question.
Yes.
Question, was number 60 adjudicated?
Yes.
What was the outcome?
That was the one with Rhea and Wussel, and I believe we continue that matter. Am I correct, Mr. Wade?
I believe it's still open. I thought you
I thought we're going to hear it.
Word with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
My
we're
apologies.
going to hear
Well,
it.
okay. All right. So we will hear that.
Still open?
It's still open.
Okay.
I'd just like to call case 25 for 7821 Mercury Place, Ebony Coates. She still on the hearing?
Yes, I'm here.
I've messaged you several times that your matter was resolved earlier. I just wanted to let you know I was trying to.
Oh, I'm sorry. What does that mean?
We'll have someone reach out to you to confirm. I just got to get on with the hearings. All right. You don't need to be. It's a public hearing. You can stay if you'd like, but you didn't need to be on the hearing.
So I don't have to speak or anything.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So it brings us to case 56.
Mr. Chair, may I be excused for this case?
Yes, sir.
Thank
yes,
you.
sir. Yep.
Case number 56, hearing appeal ending 0826, 1919 West Hunting Park Avenue.
Okay.
William MacArthur, Tiona Sutton, Derek Sutton.
Okay, thank you. All right, who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, board members. This is Michael Rula on behalf of the city.
Okay. All righty. Now we've had the appellants before us earlier in today's hearing. So what I'd like to do, the individuals who are cited here, Tiana Sutton, Derek Sutton is not present. He submitted a letter authorizing Tiana to speak on his behalf. Ms. Tiana, are you going to be the spokesperson for today?
So Walida is going to be the spokesperson today.
Okay, wait a minute. Before we do that, your name again, ma'am?
Walida MacArthur is speaking.
Okay, well, just one moment. Just wanted for the record, who's is Walida MacArthur cited?
Walida MacArthur is on the deed, so she does have, the city's position is she would have standing
Okay.
for this violation.
Okay, all right, thank you. All righty. I know that seems to be a pain in the neck when we do that, but it's for everybody's benefit. So nobody's property gets represented by an unauthorized person.
That's fine.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we will, before we do anything, raise your right hand so that you may be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, and I just caution you not to speak over one another and that everybody will be given an opportunity to speak. And on your end, Ms. MacArthur, only one person asks one question, not the same person multiple times. Okay? We will now go to the city. Who's representing the city?
Michael Rulo on behalf of the city.
And do you have a witness, Mr. Rulo?
I do. I would just raise that I think as a preliminary matter, before getting to testimony, there was the issue of the lateness of this appeal. The violation here was issued on October 12th of 2022, and the appeal was not submitted until it's dated January 24th, 2023. So this is 2.5 months, if my math is correct, late.
Correct. Okay. Alrighty. So let's do this before we proceed any further. Do you want me to swear your witness in? Then we'll go to resolve this matter of timeliness.
Yes. The city would call Inspector Anthony Williams.
Okay, Mr. Williams, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You can place your hand down. Okay, excuse me, Mr. MacArthur?
Yes.
There's a matter of timeliness noted. Our records indicate that you did not submit the appeal within the 30-day window. Any response to that?
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
I had an expediter that was helping me with this appeal. The reason why I had to get an expediter, because each time I went down to the city to do the appeal and do the process, they told me I was not on the paperwork. So that's when someone down the city told me to get someone to help me. So that's when I got the expediter, and she submitted everything for me. So I don't know why. And I even had paperwork I don't have it with me now, but I have paperwork to show that I went down to the city the very next day to get the follow appeals and try to avoid the to, redo the violations.
Okay, so you didn't give me an answer as to why you're late. What's your argument for being late?
My argument for being late is because no one couldn't help me, and I didn't know what direction to go in because this is my first time that this ever happened, and I didn't know where to go to do anything. But so when I got with the expediter, she submitted everything for me, and she said everything was on a timely manner. Only thing I could do was take her word.
Oh, no, you're supposed to read everything.
Well, I did.
Or call a lawyer. The day that you should have called a lawyer. Okay. Because you're 60 days late. The issue is that whether we have the authority to hear this case. That's where we are.
The 60-day, the paperwork that I have, that's what I'm saying. I filed the appeal myself.
Ma'am, the paperwork that you have is stamped for the 1/24/23, correct?
No, that's
what's the date? What's the date of the submission of the violation?
I'm about to look at it right now because I filed
the look at it. Look at it.
I filed the appeal myself.
You said the expediter filed the appeal.
No, I did not. I said at first I came down to L&I to do the appeal. They told me that I wasn't on the deed. That's when they told me I had to go get Tiana Sutton or Derek Sutton. In the meantime, I went and got Tiana Sutton and came back down there and did the appeal. When they did the appeal, that's when they told me to get somebody to help me. I got the expediter to help me with the paperwork in the meantime. The city gave me a letter saying that they let me look for the paperwork in the notes, because I did an appeal way before the expediter did.
Well, the only appeal we have is the one that was finally submitted on that 1/24 date.
Now I have it in my notes.
Okay. All right. That doesn't matter if it's not formally if it's not stamped in by the city, it doesn't count.
It is by the city because I came down
Well,
there
no,
and paid
man, you aren't hearing me.
$200.
You aren't hearing me. If the appeal form is not stamped by the city, which is the date that we go by, is what we have to live with. That's the date we live with. If you have something that has a different stamp on it, please look through it. We'll give you time to look through it.
Because I paid $300.
Okay, look through it. Look through it and tell us what you got. Mr. Rulo, while she's looking for that, any response?
Yes, if I could just put on the record, just so as Chairman Woodson, you pointed out, the only appeal documents in the record are approximately 2.5 months late. Under section A-801.2 of the Philadelphia Code, the board lacks jurisdiction to hear appeals filed beyond 30 days. In this instance, even if it had jurisdiction, it's only permitted to hear this on a nunc-pro-tunc basis. In these circumstances, there would have to be a showing of unforeseeable or unavoidable events that precluded the filing of a timely appeal. And it's only in unique or compelling circumstances that that's allowed. And that's the case of Chris v. Wise, 566 PA 437. And so the city's position is just, as a matter of law in this instance, the board does not have jurisdiction to hear this untimely appeal.
Okay. While she's looking, what kind of business is operating here, Mr. Will?
This was cited as operating an event space. And at this, I can represent to the board that at this time, the only 2 violations that remain outstanding are for the lack of a certificate of occupancy and for relating to a commercial cooking system. And those violations remain open. As the chairman, as you pointed out, this has been continued multiple times. The violation has remained open. The last inspection, as Inspector Williams would testify, was in May of this year. And I mean, it's just a matter of record that there is not a certificate of occupancy at this time.
Okay. All right, ma'am, did you find what you were looking for?
I'm still looking because I'm going through all these papers, but the violations, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
let's not get off track. If you could just find that, because otherwise we can move on to another matter. We still have other cases to deal with.
This is like...
And Chairman, I would just, I understand the situation, but I'm just going to, for the purposes of the record, object. We are multiple hearings in here, and these documents were not submitted ahead of time. They're not in a capacity where the city or even the board can review these documents. And it's unclear what even these documents are. So I'm just going to note that objection for the record.
So noted. I just want Miss, if she has something that in fact we've missed, I just want to see what that is before we conclude the matter.
Well, before we make a decision on the timeliness of the appeal, I would ask for a brief executive session, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see what time do we have now. It's 4:08. We will return at about 4:12. Okay. We go off the record for about 4 minutes. Ma'am, please continue to look. We'll be back in 4 minutes to hear what you found. For 1919 West Hunting Park, we were waiting to hear from Ms. McArthur regarding some information she was attempting to locate. Ms. McArthur, have you had any success?
I found the paper that when the appeal was done with the expediter, but I'm still trying to find the paperwork that when I filed the appeal myself.
Okay, let's do this. We've heard from the city's position, Mr. Rulo's position. We've had an opportunity to review our own notes on this matter. This has been before us multiple times, as well as hearing from the appellants. Given all of that, we find there's a unique set of circumstances here that would that would permit us to proceed. So, Mr. Rulo, I know that your objection is on the record and it's noted, but we're going to proceed with the hearing today.
Understood.
Okay, thank you. So would you call your first witness?
The city's going to call Inspector Anthony Williams.
He's the one who the violations.
Inspector Williams, I can't see you on the screen. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. With the board's permission, I'd like to share my screen.
Yes, please.
Inspector Williams, can you see what's been preliminarily marked as City Exhibit 1?
Yes.
Okay. And what is this document?
That's the violation notice in order to correct.
Okay. And are you familiar with the property cited here, 1919 West Huntington Park Avenue?
Yes.
Okay. And can you walk us through what the violations were at this property?
At the time of inspection, there was an event space operating on first and second floor. So the zoning permit was required and a certificate of occupancy was required for operating that use. And at the time, the kitchen hood was not certified.
And when originally cited, there was also violations for concerning the fire extinguishers at the property, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And I'm going to move down to what has been marked as, City Exhibit 3. I'm going to zoom out here. Is this the property in question?
Yes.
And so this is actually, clearly this is taken actually in night when it was operating. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And then we have another picture of one of the fire extinguishers that was not up to code.
Yes.
And then turning to this photo, we can actually see that the fire extinguishers, when this was initially cited, had expired in January of 2021, correct?
That is correct.
And then this is another picture of that event space.
Yes, that was the upstairs.
Okay. And another photo of that, correct?
Yes.
And then moving here, we have another photo of a lounge space.
Yes.
And I'm just going to walk through. Again, another photo of that interior space of this cafe.
Yes.
Again, another photo also indicating the fire extinguishers that were not up to code.
Yes, that's correct.
We have another sample of that, like what appears to have been, can you describe what's actually shown here? This appears to have been a bedroom at one point or something like that?
No, it was like a secondary lounge room.
Okay. With its own access.
Yes, that's what it appeared to be. Yes, when we were there.
And this is a photo of the cease poster that the department posted, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And
that just made me not something, but
Okay, someone should be muted. Who's not part of the hearing? Just one moment. Mr. Wade, if you could take care of that, please.
Yep, just walked through the door.
I think Mr. Martin's, yeah, there you go. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Rouleau, please.
And this is just another, City Exhibit 4 is another copy of the site violation notice that's identifying the zoning, fire code, and the license issues of the property, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then moving down, we have, you inspected the property on May 6th of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And at the time of that inspection, what violations remained open?
The certificate of occupancy and the certification for the commercial kitchen hood.
Okay, and can you explain what each of those are?
Well, the certificate of occupancy just lets us know that a building inspector walked through with regards to the fire safety, and all the fire safety requirements have been met for the use that has been approved, which was now a breakfast place. So that we needed that certificate of occupancy, and then the commercial kitchen hood that's required because we want to make sure that the fire safety requirements for that hood are working right with regards to, fire extinguishing in the case of a fire.
And there is an active certificate of occupancy application at this time, correct?
Yes.
But has that been sitting in a awaiting additional information status?
Yes.
Okay, so at this time, I guess this was originally listed in the fall, I believe, and it still has not obtained that certificate of occupancy.
Correct.
Um, that does it for my questions. I would just reserve some time for redirect.
Yes. Mr. MacArthur, do you have any questions for Mr. Williams, the inspector? You muted. Yes.
The certificate for the hood is the fire extinguisher, everything that's being the city, when they came out to inspect the hood and put a tag on it, they said that they was going to submit everything.
Okay, Mr. MacArthur, you have to ask a question. If you have any questions, if you don't, that's okay. But at this point,
No. I'm asking,
ask a question. Ask a question.
Did you receive the paperwork for the hood? Because they told me that they were going to submit it to the city website, being as though they came out to do the fire.
Who was they?
The people that I had to come out and inspect the fire extinguisher, and give me 1 second, I'm sorry. I could tell you that they said that they were going to submit everything to the city back in May.
Okay, Mr. Williams, what is your response?
It hasn't been uploaded to our Eclipse portal yet.
Because I have a receipt that I paid for everything.
Okay, Mr. MacArthur, his response is that it hasn't been submitted. So do you have any additional questions?
What do I do? Because I don't know far as them saying it, because they said they gave me a receipt, which is Dell Fire Extinguisher, and they said that they were going to submit it. I don't know what to do, why he didn't.
Okay, Ms. MacArthur, there is an account, Mr. Williams, would you explain which system you use to track these things, and actually the property owner has access to it as well, correct?
Yes, they do, but it's much easier for the contractor to upload the certification. We do it through they do it through the Eclipse portal through their account, and they are able to upload the certification, the various certifications that are needed for that parcel.
Okay, but a property owner can also set up an Eclipse account, and they can check on a regular basis to see if documentation has been submitted, correct?
Yes,
okay.
Or they can call the office and see if it's been uploaded as well.
Okay, ma'am, Mr. MacArthur, that's how you would check on whether that contractors did what you paid them to do. Do you have any additional questions?
The additional questions that I have is answers, because calling the city and going to the city.
Now, Mr. MacArthur, wait a minute. Mr. MacArthur, you have to follow the procedure that we use here, okay? And it'll be better for everybody. Mr. Williams has testified. You're now cross-examining him based on his testimony. And you've asked him one question, and he responded. Do you have any further questions? Because after you finish with him, you can again present your case. This is okay. Right. You could then testify on your own. So whatever questions do you have for him?
I don't have any more questions, but this.
Okay, if you don't have any more questions, then you have to stop. Then we have to let the city finish presenting their case, okay? All right, Mr. Rulo, any additional witnesses?
No.
Okay, okay, now, Ms. MacArthur, you're free to present your case. The city is closed.
This has been years that I've been trying to take care of this. When these violations came back in 22, the very next day or the following day, I contacted the city. I went to the fire extinguisher people to certify the hood, which I paid. I have a receipt for that I paid $1028.22 to certify the hood and redo the fire extinguishers, which they did. I tried to get in contact with the inspector. I went back down to the city to show them everything. That's why I said they gave me a hard way to go. They told me my name wasn't on nothing. I couldn't do anything. I have a whole paper trail. I don't have it with me right now, but I did everything that I was supposed to do. They told me that I couldn't get the food license because the building wasn't zoned. I don't understand how it wasn't zoned when I had everything. I had food license. Everything was, the whole building was open with everything. I don't have it in front of me, but we had a food license. We had fire exit. Everything was up.
Okay, Mr. MacArthur, you moved around a number of different topics. So let's see if we can help out here in order for us to get proceeding. The two outstanding violations is certificate of occupancy and the uncertified kitchen hood. Now, you've testified that you paid for a company to certify the hood. Do you have a copy of the certification?
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. I got it done twice.
No, you didn't answer my question. Do you have a copy
No,
of the certification?
they don't give you a copy. They give you a receipt. I have
Okay, wait. Now, have you called them back and say, why doesn't the city have it?
Yes, I did, sir.
And what did they tell you?
They told me that the city doesn't do their job. I can call them on the phone right now and let you hear. I called them and told them that I need something showing.
I'm just going to, I have to intervene and object here on the
Okay.
basis of hearsay. I've let a lot of hearsay go here, but we're
Okay. All right, understood. So noted. Ms. MacArthur, the legal way to do that would be to have someone present so we can question them. Okay. Call them on the phone. Unless they want to, they could join us on Zoom. If they could join us for the next 2 minutes, we can then swear them in and have them testify. I'm sure the city wouldn't object to that. So that's the first issue. The other outstanding matter is the certificate of occupancy. It appears that there's still some information they need from you on that. Where's that?
The occupancy thing is, they told me I passed for the zoning. They gave me the zoning. Now I'm waiting on the occupancy paperwork. That's still in paper. I don't know. know.
There's a note in the file that they asking you for more information. Have you checked the Eclipse system to determine what's going on in there?
That's why I hired an expediter. She was doing everything.
Okay.
I don't know anything about the clip system, none of that. And this is
okay. All of the wait. The clip system is how the system responds to applications. And so Ms. Padilla, whoever your expert is, should have explained that to you. They can go in, she can go in and see what's needed to complete your application. There's some information that's needed from you before the city can complete reviewing your CO application.
Okay.
So you need to do that today.
Okay. But I'm getting the fire people on the phone because
ask them to join us via Zoom if they can right now. Mr. Rulo, I know this is unorthodox, but I want to deal with this matter.
I understand, but just for the purposes of the record, I'm just going to object on the basis of relevance here, because regardless of what the fire inspection company is going to testify, ultimately, the city's records reflect that it was not uploaded. It is not
understood.
So regardless of what they testify, the violation remains.
Understood. Okay. Understood. So the issue here is attempting to there's obviously a lack of appreciation for the system, not appreciation, a lack of experience with the system that's creating some level of disruption.
Yes, and I understand and can be sympathetic to if there's, if as Ms. MacArthur has indicated, there were issues with the expediter here, but ultimately there is not a certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
And the property remains under cease.
And
it needs to continue at this stage.
Yes. The other thing I would ask you, Mr. Rulo, what is the current zoning status?
The property has obtained zoning.
And it's zoning for an event space?
Yeah, so the zoning violation that was issued here is complied. The only two violations that remain are for lack of a certificate of occupancy, and then for the report that must be uploaded relating to that commercial kitchen hood system.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I need a point of clarification on that, because the violation notice says they were operating an event space with live entertainment from a commercial space without a zoning and or use permit. I assume it's for live event space and live entertainment. And from what I could see on the city website, the only use permit that was issued was for a sit-down restaurant. So that's not the same thing as an event space with live entertainment. And it's not clear to me whether the intent of Ms. MacArthur and her fellow owners is to have an event space, and whether that's considerably different than a sit-down restaurant.
Absolutely.
Yes, and that was going to be part of my cross-examination, is clarifying that.
Okay.
Because they do have zoning for a sit-down restaurant, but as you pointed out, that's very different from what the space was operating at as when it was cited.
Okay, absolutely. We'll clarify that. I guess I'm asking now, Mr. MacArthur, if you would unmute and come back on and give us a status of where we can proceed here. We're in the middle of the hearing.
I'm on the phone with the fire department, the people that inspect the hood and the fire extinguishers. So I just passed the phone over and waiting for them to the lady to get everything together.
What is it that she's going to get together?
I'm telling them that they have to submit something to you guys.
Well, they know that as a professional company, they know what they have to submit and how to submit. So the issue is, why didn't they do it?
And exactly, and that's why I'm saying when they did it before the first time in 22, I asked them that, and they told me that they did submit it and so forth and so on, and tried to say that the city doesn't do their job. And I told them that I needed that. They told me that the receipt was good enough. Then I had the same company do the same thing back in May. And when the inspector came out, they were there doing it. So I mean, it's out of my hands to say why they didn't do it, but I have had it done.
Okay. It doesn't count unless it's in the system. And so that's where we are now. Okay. Any additional testimony you want to give before the city cross-examines you?
Because
No, you didn't hear my question. My question to you is any additional information you want, new information that you want to share before the city cross-examines you?
That they dated the hood, they put everything on the fire extinguisher, the dates that is up to code.
Okay.
They did it.
We can't see any of that, man. Please. Yeah.
The inspector was there when they. The inspector was there when they was doing the fire extinguisher in the hood. I don't know what else to say because I don't have the paper in front of me. I just have a receipt.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Physically at the time inspection.
Mr. Tennant.
Physically at the time inspection by the fire suppression company on site, they will put the dates on the apparatus that is there. They now have to take the document and upload it into the Eclipse system through their account. Until they do that, Mr. Williams in the department does not see that it has been certified. And if Mr. Williams, Inspector Williams goes there, he still needs the certification in the system to verify it. Now, the only connect that I see here for Inspector Williams and Mr. MacArthur is that they connect her with the AIU unit that handles the certifications to verify not only if it's in the system, or they can contact the owner of the suppression system to verify if they made an attempt to put it in the system. That's going to verify if there is a glitch in the system or if there's just a lack on their part to do it. But if AI calls them, Mr. Williams connects them, that can take place. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rulo, you had any cross-examination?
I was just going to ask Ms. MacArthur, what are you operating this space as now?
It's going to be a cafe.
Okay. And what will be its hours of operation?
It's from 6 to 2.
At 6 to 2 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay.
At 6 a.m. to 6 to 2 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. Any additional questions?
That does it for now.
Okay. So the event space idea is no longer operative?
No, it never was. No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Is there any additional information that anyone needs to share with us before we vote? Any final argument? Ms. MacArthur, I'm not sure what's going on your end, but any information before we vote on this?
No, I'm trying to get them to submit something to get on the Zoom meeting to show that I had it done.
Okay, well, we're prepared to vote now. It's kind of late. I mean, we need to proceed. So, they as your professional, as the organization representing your interests, they owe you as their client some kind of explanation. At the moment, it's not in the city system. What you can do,
question?
Let me finish saying what I'm saying.
Okay.
You may want to talk to the inspector, Mr. Williams, after the meeting. And Mr. Williams, if you can make your phone number available to Ms. MacArthur, that may help explain to her how to connect with AIU to see if, in fact, anything was submitted, or to put her on Eclipse herself. Okay. Now, If there's nothing else from anyone, you want to ask me something, Mr. MacArthur, before we vote?
You gonna say something? Yes, they said that they're gonna call me back. The Dell fire extinguisher people is gonna call me back.
Okay. All right. So they aren't available and or prepared to respond at the moment. Okay.
I have a question. I just want to confirm, Mr. Chairman, that the cease poster was put on the property. If I'm correct, I just want to confirm with, I guess, Inspector Williams. It looks like October 8th of 2022. And these violations go back to October of 2022. And we're now we're a year and a half later, still trying to comply the violations. Is that correct, Inspector Williams?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Alrighty. There's nothing else from anyone regarding number 56. And that's HA-2023-000-826, 1919 West Hunting Park Avenue. Walida MacArthur, Tiona Sutton, Derek Sutton. The vote, city affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
Okay. There are 5 votes, city affirmed. It's a unanimous vote. Ma'am, that means that you lost your appeal. However, you can appeal our decision. And if you need information as to how to appeal our decision, call the office based on that number that you have on that correspondence, and it will help you figure out how to appeal the decision of this board. I would also recommend, if you haven't done it, I would recommend that you employ the services of an experienced real estate attorney who could help you resolve these kinds of matters because they can be incredibly complex.
Right, I'm going to appeal because COVID was involved.
Ma'am, you can appeal. I'm suggesting that you can appeal, but I'm also suggesting to you that you hire yourself a good real estate attorney to help you navigate these matters.
So I lost this appeal. I mean,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
lost the matter. So what I have to do, pay the fines?
Well, yes, the fines are there, but we can't give you legal advice. You need to talk to the attorney.
I'm not, right, I'm going to talk to
would be giving you legal advice. We aren't prepared to do that. I'm
asking you, is some of the codes lifted? Because I did comply with the fire extinguisher and stuff like that. So it's not free, right?
There was noted that some of the matters had already been complied. Talk to the inspector who testified today. He offered to make himself available to you, and he could give you the current status. The other thing I would suggest to you, create an Eclipse account with the city of Philadelphia.
Okay, can we have the phone number, please, the inspector?
Mr. Williams, can you put it in the chat or give it? Are you comfortable?
I thought they had it already, but okay, I'll put it in the chat.
He's gonna put it in the chat. Can you read the chat?
No.
Okay, give it to you.
Can I ask who's speaking?
Wait. Only one person can speak because everything is recorded by a court reporter. The individual asking for the phone number, who is that?
That's Tiana.
Okay.
She has to be the response. Okay. Okay, Mr. Williams, how will you transmit your phone number, please? You're muted, sir.
I'm going to try to put it in the chat.
Okay, before we leave you, I want to make sure you're successful because we've gone. I don't want to glitch you at this point.
To expedite this, my email address is my name dot my last name at phila.gov. You're welcome to email me, and I can send you Inspector Williams' phone number if you're unable to see it in the chat. I believe
It's here. We have it.
Okay.
What is your email again? I'm sorry.
It's my first dot last name at phila.gov.
No, I can't see it on the chat. Your name. What is it?
Spell it out, Mr. Rulo.
Michael, MICHAEL .Rulo, RULLO at phila.gov.
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you very much. Note that there is that outstanding certificate of occupancy application, and as Ms. MacArthur has noted, she apparently has this contractor who just needs to upload the certification. Once that certificate of occupancy application is completed and issued, and the certification uploaded, the matter is resolved. So it does appear that it's close. It's that's where we are.
Right.
Ms. McGarthy,
Thank you.
you have to open up an Eclipse account, then you can see it for yourself.
I'm going to try to open it. This is my first time ever going through any of this, but that's what I'm going to do.
Yep. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. You're excused for today. Mr. Rouleau, is there anything else?
No, that completes my business. May I please be excused?
1 second.
Yes. And Mr. Williams, you're excused. Okay. Mr. Wade, what do we have next?
Case number 57.
We're going to do that last.
Okay.
What about
We do
56?
We do have. I just want to make sure we don't have an issue with losing our interpreter.
Okay, we'll check with the interpreter, but I do need to go off the record for about 5 minutes before we start this next matter. Is 57 the last matter?
No, 60 is the last matter, but 57 is the next in line. I just wanted to make sure that the interpreter could stay on.
Okay, let's do this. Unless there's something pushing critical, let's go to 60.
Okay. Case number 60, hearing appeal ending 1872, 3850 Carl Street, William Russell.
Mr. Chair,
yes.
Mark me back present.
Yes, so noted. You're with us. Mr. William Russell present. Who's representing the city?
Caitlin Carmody on behalf of the city.
Afternoon, Ms. Carmody. Mr. William Russell, are you present, sir?
I believe he's still on.
We spoke with him earlier. I'm not sure if he's Ms. Carmody, do you have a witness for today?
I do. It's Inspector Tamika BLIR.
Okay.
Yes.
And Mr. William Russell.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Russell, would you raise your right hand so that you be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Tamika BLIR, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
I do. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Carmody, let's begin.
I just wanted to quickly clarify. I know that we agreed to continue with the matter on the basis of there not being there was an attorney, but we were going to continue to hear it anyway. But I believe that we had reserved the issue of timeliness to call it in order.
Yes. Yes, we reviewed that matter, and based on the circumstances, we're going to proceed.
Okay. Understood.
Okay.
Let me just pull up my exhibits. Okay, so as a brief opening, this is an appeal of an intent to cease stemming from a notice of violation issued to 3850 Coral Street to both the record owner of the premises as well as to the occupant, Our Family Salvage LLC, who filed the present appeal. The violations cited include violating the use permit marked as Exhibit C2, which I will show, in addition to a series of fire code violations. And at this time, the city would like to call its witness, Inspector Tamika BLIR.
Yes.
Okay. Inspector BLIR, could you please state your name and your place of employment for the record?
Tamika BLIR, Department of Licenses and Inspections, City of Philadelphia.
And have you had a chance to review the records associated with 3850 Coral Street before today's hearing?
Yes.
And you're familiar with the property located at 3850 Coral Street?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with the property?
I was called out on a complaint for the property. I answered the property and did an inspection.
And so you have visited the property personally, correct?
Correct.
Okay. At this time, with the board's permission, I would like to share my screen.
Yes.
It should appear momentarily. All right. And is that showing okay for everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So before we dive into any photographs or anything, I'd like to sort of go through a timeline of events. So I'm going to begin with Exhibit C2. I'm going to scroll through Exhibit C1, which is a copy of the appeal application form. Okay. Inspector BLIR, could you please, I'm going to zoom in, describe what this document is for the record?
This is a legal zoning use permit that states how the property is legally zoned to be used.
Okay, and based on this use permit, what is the permitted use of the property at 3850 Coral?
The property should be used for the storage of operational motor vehicles on an open lot, non-accessory surface parking only. Junk and salvage type activity is prohibited with the perimeter fence walls, no buildings or signs authorized by this permit.
Okay, so the property could be used to store operational motor vehicles, but that only operational vehicles, and there cannot be any junk or salvage activity, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and what is the date highlighted of this use permit in the upper right-hand corner?
May 22nd, 2015.
Okay, and just the location on the use permit, just for the record.
3850 Coral Street.
Okay. I'm going to zoom out. And I'm going to move to exhibit C3. Just go through. Okay, and Inspector, can you please describe what this document is?
This is a violation notice in order to correct.
Okay, and what is the date of this notice?
March 26, 2024.
And who is the responsible party that it was issued to?
Our Family Salvage and Parts.
Okay, and Our Family Salvage and Parts is the occupant rather than the owner of the property, correct?
Correct.
Okay, would this notice of violation also have been sent to the record owner?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to scroll down, and can you just walk us through, there's a few pages, can you just walk us through the violations that were issued in this notice?
Okay, so the first violation, A 301.1/65, property currently operating as a scrapyard and salvage yard in violation of the legal use permit, obtain zoning for current use permit, or return property back to approved zone use, which is storage of operational motor vehicles on an open lot. The next violation is for a certificate of occupancy for the current use. The next violation is for fire extinguishers. They were to be mounted every 75 feet and in areas where hazardous conditions are, which were the cutting and welding operations. And specifically, a 10-pound fire extinguisher was supposed to be mounted.
Okay, I'll move on to the next page. If you could just continue with the next couple of violations.
Okay. All drums on the property are supposed to be labeled. If they're empty, they need a label that states empty. The next violation is to install no smoking signs on the premises, including in the cutting and welding area, and where LP gas containers were stored, and where chemicals stored.
Okay, and onto this next page.
Items should not be stored within 10 feet of the gas containers, gas cylinders. LP gas containers that are no longer in use should be removed. All cylinders shall be properly secured.
Okay. And I'll scroll down to the last one's getting cut off a little bit.
Containers were to be provided to dispose of chemicals or fluids, and it should be labeled, the contents of that container should be labeled.
Okay.
Combustibles are to be kept at least 3 feet away from the cutting and welding area. Discharge fluids and oils were to be cleaned from the lot. All rubbish and garbage was to be removed from the premises.
I'll continue to scroll so that doesn't get cut off.
Tires were to be neatly stored in an area separate from other combustibles. LP gas containers, whether empty or full, shall be stored in a lockable ventilated cabinet of metal construction. Items stored shall be maintained in neat piles with separation between each pile and clear aisle space between those piles. And the address ID is required for the exterior of the property.
Okay, and finally, this one on the last page, or the last two,
would be a license for cutting and welding operations and a license for hazardous materials license.
Okay, thank you for walking us through that. I'm just going to scroll back up to the first page of the notice of violation. And what was the correct by date listed on this notice of violation?
April 29th of 2024.
Okay. And after this notice of violation was issued, did you re-inspect the property after April 29th of 2024?
Yes, I did.
And at that time, were any of the violations complied?
Please give me a moment.
Hearing whatever, please. Who has them?
I apologize. I returned to the property on April 29th of 2024. And there were no violations corrected at that time.
Okay. What action did the department take next once it confirmed that these violations still existed at the property?
I issued an intent to cease order, and I explained to the operator that zoning was required. That was the main important issue, that he has to have zoning for the operations. If zoning is not obtained, the business will be shut down until it is obtained.
Okay, I'm going to move now to Exhibit C4, just for the record. Is this the notice of intent to cease that you issued?
Yes.
Okay, and what is the date of this intent to cease?
May 9th of 2024.
And was this issued to both the record owner and the occupant?
Yes.
And what was the effective date of the cease that's highlighted on this page?
May 20th of 2024.
Okay. And why did the department decide to issue an intent to cease for this property?
Because the property was in operation, was in violation of the specific use that's not permitted, which was the scrap and rec yard, and also because of the hazardous issues on site.
Okay, thank you. Now I'd like to switch gears back to your first inspection. Did you take any photographs of the property at your initial inspection?
Yes.
And would you be able to recognize those photos for us today?
Yes.
Okay. We will move forward to Exhibit C5. And what is the time-stamped date on the bottom of this photo?
March 11th of 2024.
And what does this photograph depict?
That is the outside of the property, the scrap yard. There is the yellow wall with the black poster has the business name on it.
And that's the appellant's business name on the sign?
Yes.
Okay. And does it appear to, does it explain that it does salvage and parts, our family salvage and parts?
Correct.
Okay. Moving on to the next photograph. Can you please explain what this photograph depicts?
That is a picture of some of the scrap materials that are on the premises. And as you can see, the ground is saturated with oil.
And could you explain how this condition could be dangerous to public health and safety?
Because oils permeate into the ground, it can contaminate the water supply. Also, it's flammable, so if a match was to be lit or a fire was there, it would cause severe damage and life safety issues.
Yep. I'll move on to the next photograph. And the same question, can you please explain the conditions in this photo and how they contribute to a life safety issue?
There's combustible storage, there are propane tanks that are not properly secured, the tires and combustible materials that are stored too close to the cylinders. That's also a hazardous condition.
Okay, thank you. And this photograph as well, can you please describe the conditions in this photo?
That's almost the same view, but looking from a different angle. It's just the tire storage close to the containers. Also, if you look towards the back, there's residential properties there. That's the residential properties abut the scrapyard.
Okay. And to your knowledge, are those residential properties currently occupied?
Yes.
Okay. And can you please describe the conditions in this photograph?
The ground is also again saturated. There are batteries, car batteries stored, various car parts. There are vehicles.
Do those vehicles, oh, sorry. No,
Mhm.
sorry, I cut you off. My apologies.
And then a clear picture of the distance between the scrapyard and the residential properties.
Okay. And do these vehicles appear to be operable?
No.
Okay. Moving forward, is this just a similar view of the vehicles?
Yes.
Okay. And again, just same question for these photos. I know it can be repetitive, but I just want to establish for the record everything in the photos.
Scrap vehicle parts, there are bags of trash, and a wrecked vehicle in the back, an unlabeled drum. There's saturation in the ground and gas containers.
Okay. And this photograph as well?
That's a close-up of the trash that's on the property.
Okay, and are those paint cans or oil cans in the middle left-hand side? Are you able to tell?
I'm not able to tell.
Okay. Do the bags appear to be sitting in some sort of liquid?
Yes, they appear to be sitting in oil.
Okay.
And that is a picture of an inoperable vehicles.
Okay. I believe these are almost the last photos. Okay, and this one as well?
That was battery storage, the saturated ground, cutting and welding equipment in the rear, the green cylinders and the gray cylinder. That's the cutting and welding equipment. There's a fire extinguisher on the wall that's not the right size and it's not up to code. And there's a drum in the rear that's not labeled, so we don't know what the contents are.
Okay. And just finally, for the final picture of the first inspection in this photograph.
That's another view of the tire storage that was shown previously.
Okay. And at the inspection, at your second inspection prior to the issuance of the cease, did you take photos at that inspection as well?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to, I have those marked as Exhibit C6, if I can just look through those briefly. Does it appear that any changes have been made to the front of the property with the signage or anything?
There are vehicles stored on the public way, which is not permitted. The vehicles were associated with the property.
Okay. And how about this photograph?
Some of the tires were removed. All the propane tanks were stored in a cage as required. Some of the debris have been cleaned up.
Okay. And is it a similar depiction?
Yes, it's the same area. The tires were cleaned up.
Okay. And how about this photograph? Can you describe what, if anything, has changed before the issuance of the cease?
The debris that was in that area was cleaned up more and contained, but there's still wrecked vehicles on the property.
Okay. And how about this photograph?
More of the scrap materials that were being contained more, and the wrecked vehicles on the lot.
And I forgot to ask initially, what is the date stamped at the bottom of this photograph?
May 8th of 2024.
Okay. And can you describe what this photograph depicts?
A fire extinguisher that's not mounted, tagged and inspected.
Okay. And are you able to identify the liquid on the ground, whether it's oil or rainwater or?
That appears to be oil also.
Okay. And this photograph as well?
At that time, the cutting and welding equipment was secured to the wall. But the fire extinguisher was not inspected.
Okay. And this photograph as well? I appreciate your patience as we go through all of the photos.
There's rainwater mixed in with the motor oil, batteries, loose batteries not contained and stored properly.
Okay, and so did these conditions at this time, did they still present a danger to public health and safety?
Yes.
Okay, and at this time, was the appellant able to obtain any zoning or proper licensing for the work that was being done, to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And finally, I will go ahead and scroll. Okay. And can you just describe this photograph before I move into the most recent photos, please?
There's some oil spillage on the ground. There were some parts. There was an attempt made to clean up the yard and organize, but this is the middle process of what he was doing.
Okay. And so after you re-inspected the property, you determined that there were still public health and safety issues, and that's the point at which you issued the intent to seize, right?
Correct.
Okay. And did you have the chance to re-inspect just before this hearing?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show what's marked as Exhibit C7. And again, I'm just going to ask what, if any, conditions have changed and if anything has been complied based on this photograph?
The vehicles will no longer be parked on the sidewalk as instructed. And that's just a picture of the entrance showing such.
Okay. And the sign still appears to remain on the property?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe any changes in this photograph before compared to the previous ones?
The cutting and welding equipment was removed.
Okay.
A new fire extinguisher was placed there, but it was not mounted, inspected, or tagged. So it's not up to code.
Okay. And I think in this fire extinguisher, if you could just explain.
That's a close-up of the one that was shown in the previous picture.
Okay. And it's not up to code.
Correct. It's a smaller kitchen extinguisher and it's not inspected or tagged.
Understood. Thank you. And is this a close-up of the other one?
Yes.
Okay, but it's not tagged or mounted, as you said?
It has expired tag on there.
Okay. And can you just please describe the conditions in this photograph?
That's a picture of the saturated ground and also wrecked vehicles.
Okay. And this one as well?
More wrecked vehicles.
Okay. And were these structures, to your knowledge, there before, or were those added? This raised thing near the vehicles?
The one in the back was always there.
Okay.
The one with the car on it, I cannot recall.
Okay. All right. And this photograph as well, can you please describe the conditions?
Is the saturated ground and the wrecked vehicles.
Okay. And does this show the containers, the gas cylinders that you mentioned previously?
Yes.
Okay.
And the combustible storage is still in front of it, too close to it.
Okay, thank you. And I'll zoom in a little bit. Are you able to or make out what this sign is on this, what appears to be a trailer?
It's the no smoking sign that was installed. He also showed me that he had other signs, but when I was on site, they weren't installed.
Okay. And finally, this photograph, can you just explain what this depicts or if anything has changed since the initial inspections?
This is an area where tires were being stored. They were stored neatly. and just the area that was being cleaned at the time of my inspection.
Okay. So as it stands today, are there still violations that endanger public health and safety located at this property?
Yes.
And is it your opinion that the cease is necessary in order to protect public health and safety as associated with this property?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions for my witness. I would briefly just like to, let me stop sharing my screen. If I can just preserve the argument in case there is an appeal for timeliness. I don't know if I had the chance to fully address the matter. The city just did want to make the argument that this appeal was requested on an emergency basis. That appeal process did stop any enforcement action that the city was able to take. And it is the city's position that immediate work and immediate enforcement work was required. So the city would have objected to the matter being heard today, so it could take additional enforcement action right away. But I have no further questions for my witness, and I would yield to the appellant.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Russell, do you have any cross-examination of the inspector?
No cross-examination.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Carmody, do you have any additional witnesses?
I do not, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Russell, you can put your case on the record. What is it you would like to share with us?
After Ms. Tamika came out, everything was cleared up. I could actually go outside and show you that everything was done properly. The fire extinguishers were put up, tagged. The area that she was stating that was had combustibles in front of it, that was cleaned up. The ground was cleaned up. We're no longer using the gas laser cutters or none of that no more. And the only thing that's on the property now is the storage of tires and wreck cars. That's it.
Okay. Ms. Carmody, do you have any cross-examination?
Just briefly. So were you able to obtain a hazardous materials license as of yet?
They told us we had to wait till we go through this appeal process in order to go back down there and fill out all the other stuff. If you look on the Eclipse website, we have been trying to apply for different stuff, but it's saying incomplete until it's what do you call it? Till it's finalized or whatever.
I'm so sorry. My phone is just 1 second. I'll let it go to voicemail. My apologies. Thank you for your patience. Okay. And so is it similar for, have you been able to obtain the proper certificate of occupancy yet for this property?
All those, we were waiting to see about the appeal, but I think it was all that was put in, the certificate of occupancy, the zoning, like to get the zoning the way it's supposed to be, and just basically did what Miss Tamika asked.
Okay, so you're in the process of obtaining the proper zoning, certificate of occupancy, and the hazmat license. Correct. As the junkyard. Okay, yeah. But at the time the violation was issued, you did not have those licenses or appropriate usages in hand.
No, we were under the impression that the building was zoned. I forgot what class it was, where it was zoned for everything. But Miss Tamika brought to our attention that it wasn't. So that's what we went down there to get in the process. Everything that she asked us to do, we went right down there right away to make sure it gets done.
Okay. And how long has the business been operating at that location?
It just started. If you look, I think, I want to say, I can't remember what the date that we did everything with the Department of State.
Okay. Would you say that the business has been operating there for more than a year, or?
It would be probably less than a year, almost a year.
Okay. Okay, I have no further questions at this time.
Okay. And does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Russell?
No.
Anyone else have a question for Mr. Russell? Uh, I do have a question, Mr. Russell. The conditions that are noted in the photographs, are they accurate in terms of when the inspector came to your location?
When she came out, a lot of it's not oil, it's water and the tires that the loader picks up. It picks up dirt. So
But
it
I'm
looked,
asking a different question. I'm asking you if the photographs are a fair reflection of what the conditions at the time of the
yes, it
inspection.
was. At that time, yes.
Okay. Have you been in this business a long time yourself?
No, we just started.
What kind of experience do you personally have with this kind of business?
Towing, storage.
Okay. So do you have any sense of what happens when a tire catches fire, becomes flammable?
Yes, I do.
Do you know how explosive that is?
Yes, I do.
And those cylinders, how explosive that can be?
Yes.
And even if it is water mixed with oil, that if there's a match lit to it, it can go up.
Yes.
And but yet still you were okay with those conditions.
No, 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 no. I wasn't okay with the conditions. That's why we were correcting the issues.
But you didn't until the inspector came.
It just
And you
happened. That's when it happened. Yes.
and how close is the closest house to you? Residential house.
Maybe from the yard, maybe 300, 400 feet.
On all sides?
There's nothing on the back side of us.
Okay. How close do you personally live to this location?
I don't live in this location.
I'm asking how close do you live to this
Oh,
location?
how far do I live? Maybe an hour away.
Okay. So if something were to happen, your family, your household would not be affected.
Say that one more time.
If there were to be a problem, a fire, a mishap, your personal household, your residence, nor your family would be affected.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Yes, please.
Mr. Russell, when you bought the property, did you know that the only permitted use of the property was for the storage of operational vehicles?
We didn't know at that time. We didn't know until these notices came out.
I see. Did you make any investigation when you bought the property into that or started leasing the property with respect to the permitted use? You just started using it?
No, we didn't. Yes, we did.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Russell, I will invite you to share any final comments that you have that would help us understand this thing. And Ms. Carmody, of course, you will have the final argument.
Thank you.
We're trying to fix the how you basically, I mean, we do apologize for all the I want to say the lack of not knowing what we were doing. But once we were made aware of what we were doing, we rectified the situation and are willing to comply to continue to rectify the situation.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Carmody?
Just very briefly, it's the city's position. It's very clear from both the inspector's testimony and the photographs presented that the notice of violation was validly issued. The violations went uncorrected and necessitated the intent to cease at issue. The property was in direct violation, continues to be in direct violation of its zoning use permit, which clearly states that only operational vehicles may be stored at the property and that absolutely no junk or salvage activity may take place. As we've seen here today, there's a large sign at the property effectively advertising the salvage activity taking place in violation of the use permit. There are multiple vehicles on the property contributing to chemical and oil leakage, and there are piles of improperly stored combustibles mere feet away from residential buildings. The premises continues to sit in violation of the code and presents a major health and safety risk to the community. And as such, the city respectfully requests a holding of city affirm. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will now poll the board as regards to number HA-2024-001872, 3860 Coral Street, Russell Wilson. I'm sorry, William Russell. My apologies. William Russell, uh, city affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
Okay, Mr. Russell, the vote is unanimous, city affirmed, which means you lost your appeal. You may appeal our decision. If you need information as to how to do that, check with the office. That phone number is on the notices that you received. Check with them and they will give you information if you need it. Thank you very much for your participation. Have a good afternoon.
All right.
Thank you. I think 57 would be our next case, Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Okay, I need to take a short break, so it's according to my record, it's 5:17. We will be back at 5:25. Do we have any issues with the interpreter, sir?
I'm not seeing them right now.
Okay, we're gonna
I
go off
see
the
Mr.
record.
McClure
They're
raising
waving
his
at you,
hand.
sir. They ain't got stuff flying around in the air.
Okay, Mr. McClure, you had something before we go off the record?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Matt McClure on behalf of the Pennsylvania School for the Deaf. Unfortunately, all of the city interpreters have left, and we understand. We've been notified of that. We've been trying to.
Okay, what we will do, we will have Mr. Wade, who's our administrator, check with his we have a contract with a provider, so we'll find out what's going on.
Yeah, but Mr. Chairman, our client, I mean, listen,
Okay, but Mr. McClure, no, listen. I'm not going to argue the issue of interpreters right now.
Well, it's an ADA
record.
issue, so I think it's extremely important that the board
Understood.
understand the seriousness of what's just happened.
I understand, but I need to take a break and I'll be back at 5:25. Noted for the record. We'll be back at 5:25.
Mr. McSherry, I sent you a chat, so if you could respond, I appreciate it. Thank you.
She's working on 7:30. I just asked her. You're on the phone with her?
Yeah, I got her.
Okay, that's
They're
fine.
coming
Thanks.
back.
I didn't know what the situation was.
Thank you so much.
Well, no, she called me back.
Yeah.
I was calling her. All right, very good.
Okay. Ready? It's now 5:25. We'll go back on the record. Mr. Wade, what's the status of our sign language interpreter?
The city's contractor interpreter had logged off. I am on the phone with the agency. They can get another sign language interpreter, but it would take about 10 minutes.
Okay, so the individuals who was assigned to this matter had to leave?
Yes.
Okay.
They were scheduled for 2:30.
With the translator, I don't want any.
Okay, I'm not sure who's speaking. Mr.
This is-
Skarloff? No. We got to go internal. I want to hear next from the city. Then we'll get to two of you. Okay.
Well, hi, Leonard Reuter for the city of Philadelphia. Again, I think without any ASL interpreter right now, I'm concerned about putting anything on the record, or even by way of argument. I don't know if Mr. McClure's clients, if it helps them in any way, there is a show captions button at the bottom of the screen. The speech to text is actually relatively good nowadays. But again, I would say that I think it's a very serious matter if the case has to be continued because we don't have a sign interpreter when they specifically made a reasonable accommodation request under ADA for that.
Okay.
Okay,
let's do this. Mr. Wade, read in the matter, the case itself. We won't go in any argument or anything. I just want to make sure that we capture everything for the record appropriately. So if you'd read it in, please.
Case number 57, hearing appeal ending 0025, 156 West Schoolhouse Lane, Penn Knox Neighborhood Association.
Okay, and I'd just like the attorneys to just put the names on the record so we know who's representing whom.
My name is Neil Sklaroff. I'm an attorney with Dilworth Paxson in Philadelphia, and I represent Penn Knox Neighborhood Association.
Okay, thank you.
This is Leonard Reuter, Reuter, senior attorney for the city of Philadelphia. And in this matter, I'll be representing the Philadelphia Historical Commission.
Okay.
Matthew McClure, MCC, LURE, with and Meredith Trego, TREGO, of the law firm Ballard Spahr. We represent Pennsylvania School for the Deaf. Who is the appellee? Our approval was appealed by a third party.
Okay, Penn Knox. Okay, and of course, Mr. Reuter. Alrighty, let's just deal with this issue of the interpreter. Mr. Wade's understanding is that we could have someone here, I guess, at about 5:35, 5:40.
I believe so. She's on the line now. I just have to find someone.
Okay. What's your position in terms of Mr. McClure or Mr. Sklaroff in terms of waiting, or your position would that we continue it?
I would ask that the Pennsylvania School for the Deaf be able to answer questions related to ADA and not Mr. Sklaroff, because it is our clients' rights that are affected by this.
Well, I'm asking your opinion.
No, I know. Just let me.
No, I'm not going to let you just. No, sir. We're going to do this according to our established procedure. So, if you would give us your view of whether or not we should wait or proceed. I'm asking you that. Can you share that with us? And I'll ask each of you that.
How long do you think we could have tonight?
We're waiting to hear back from the agency now. We've been on the phone with them, and their initial statement was 10 minutes. I don't know if that's going to hold or not. We'll see.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just trying to, again, we are also texting right now with our client who has also lost their interpreter. So we'd like to understand how long will the board go this evening?
Oh, that's what I just said. We're waiting to hear about the interpreter, and then in terms of how long we will actually meet, I believe all the parties received communications from council that each party would have about roughly 15 minutes to present.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think it's clear that 15 minutes will not give.
Well, that's what we're going to hold you to, okay?
You
We're
can't
going to
hold
hold you to that. We're going to hold you to that. So be prepared for that. I'm not going to go beyond that.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, this is.
But what I want you to do now is address the issue of the interpreter. What is your view of that?
It's that I leave to Mr. McClure's preference. We will not stand in the way of that. If we were to have a continuance, and we would support that, we would ask for a special hearing. I think this will take
now
less than 2 hours.
Enough for the moment. Mr. Browder, what is your view in terms of the interpreter?
Again, in terms of whether we stay for the interpreter or continue it to another day, I would defer to the School for the Deaf since it's their request for the accommodation.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And I'll hear back from Mr. Wade in terms of how much he has, what he can give us, Mr. Wade.
Georgette,
If I ask her now, it'll take 10 minutes, she believes.
could you turn that light on?
Oh, there's someone, Mr. Erwin Strauss is speaking. He's interfering. So you can mute him, please, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Should I tell her yes or no, or?
Okay, Mr. McClure.
Mr. Chairman, our client will, if it's going to be only argument, and I assume it's going to be argument and some presentation from Dr. Farnham, then we will
Yeah,
try
the plan is for each side. Each will get max 15 minutes. So that's 45 minutes.
May I be heard, Mr. Chairman?
No. I'm asking Mr. McClure to respond.
we will do whatever the board chair wants.
Okay.
Just note that we will not be able to have our client participate when it comes to being able to speak because there's no ASL interpreter.
Oh, no, I'm not suggesting that we proceed without that. I'm saying to you that we've been advised that someone is available for us within 10 minutes, and we can certainly go out the record and come back and then proceed.
Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, we would do whatever works for the board. If it becomes a difficulty for my client understanding anything, okay, I will let you know.
I'm not sure I understand what that means. If we have an ACL qualified person doing sign language, how would that be an issue?
Typically, people who use ASL, as I understand it, like to understand how the translation occurs and whether it's accurate before being able to use it to speak. And that is not uncommon with people with ASL. Again, a lot of people do not understand issues with folks who are deaf. That's one of the things, one of the reasons why we're here today.
Okay. Is there a way we could test the presenter before we begin to see if that person is sufficient?
Why don't we just get started with it?
We're going to take us 10 minutes before we get the person on board anyway. That's why I'm asking.
Do we know the person's name?
Not yet. That's what we did. The agency is trying to find someone to give us. They said, Mr. Wade, the instruction is if you can get them, get them. Okay. We're going to now go off the record. It's 5:33. What Mr. Wade will do will come back on a record and advise us when they are ready. The board will go into executive session, and we will all come back at
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
minutes.
if I just may 1 second, I apologize. We've all been waiting here and just trying to be all cooperative. We have a hard stop at 7 o'clock on our end, so.
Okay. Okay. Well, hopefully we should be done, but if we start at 5 within the next 10 minutes, we should be done. If everyone is cooperative and they can fit within the 15-minute rule, we should be okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I don't know where the 15-minute rule comes from.
Well, it's a rule that we've established, so I'm not going to argue that. So we're going to go off the record at 5:33 and come back to you. If you can join us, please, in the board, Mr. Kelly. Gentlemen, all parties, we have not had any success. The interpreter has not called us yet. and out of respect for your schedules and as well as the board schedule, we're offering to reschedule this matter. We think we've identified a date where there's a very light listing of cases, and we would be able to hear it much earlier in the day than we were able to hear it today. And so that's where we are. We're proposing that we continue this matter because the hour's late, and we still haven't heard back from the agency in terms of the interpreter.
What's the date, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Wade, what date are you proposing? You're muted.
I don't know if Mr. Wade heard us.
Mr. Wade, what date are you proposing for the listing?
August 13th.
August 13th. Does that date work for you, gentlemen? And madam?
I'll make it work.
Okay, Mr. McClure?
Let me check right now.
Mr. Roder?
Let me check.
Yeah, checking with Mr. Roder as well.
Yeah, I'm checking.
Okay.
I have a firm board meeting. I'm on the board of our firm. I have a conflict that date. Is there any way we could do it earlier? And at the beginning of the schedule, giving the as you know, Mr. Chairman, this is the second time we've come to a hearing and not been heard. So if there is, and again, we are responding to an appeal that was filed against the school for deaf, and one of our claims was under the ADA. So could you allow for us to have an earlier hearing date and assure us that we will be first on the hearing? If that is, again, if we're limited to this 15-minute scenario, as you will, that is fine. I'm happy to cede my time to Mr. Reuter, but it is essential that we get moving on this. And
okay, Mr. Wade is checking the calendar in terms of what's currently scheduled. That's the issue. Yeah, just Mr. Yes, in terms of the date, that's the only thing we're talking about, Mr. Scleroff, is the date.
July 2nd.
July 2nd is a Tuesday. Just one moment. Just want to make certain that we have a quorum, because we do have some issues in terms of individuals who are present.
And what's the date again?
The date that we're looking at currently is July 2nd. We offered August 13th. That wasn't good for Mr. McClure, so we're now suggesting July 2nd. And I just need to hear, in this instance, given that this is a date that we did not discuss with the full board prior to now, any issues with that date, Mr. Pincus or Ms. Penn or Mr. Pettit?
I'm okay, Chairman.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the city's witness, Dr. Farnham, who's really the only person, since he's the one that is most familiar with this matter, he cannot make July 2nd. Is the 30th available?
July 30th?
I believe that's a BLIR date, isn't it?
That's a Tuesday.
Yes.
We're first on the calendar.
July 30th.
Yes, July 30th is available. Mr. Wade, how does the calendar look for the 30th?
About the same as today.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, in light of the fact that this will be the third time this will be listed, is there a way we could be first on the calendar?
Well, yes, that's what I'm getting to. If we list on July 30th, we can, but gentlemen, and please understand that we will hold you to the time limit, given that we do have quite a few citizens who also want to be heard on that day. And we would need to be able to do that. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, rather, since you don't want discussion today of that, we will submit a timely memo, the point of which is to say that we're entitled to more than 15 minutes. I understand you have a—
Mr. Scalera, if you want to appeal that, you may do that once it's done. But I can tell you that's what we're going to do. Okay?
Thank you,
but
sir.
Please, if you want to submit something, you may. But in fact, that's where we're headed.
Mr. Chairman,
No. July 30th, I just want to get this date. Is July 30th workable for everyone?
Yes.
I'm okay, Mr. Chairman.
That works.
I'm available, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
May I at least find a way to text our client because there's not an ASL
Okay,
on
but
here. Okay,
yeah,
just to
please do.
confirm that
Yeah.
she's available. Okay, just.
Oh yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead and do that. But in the meantime,
Meredith, are you on? Can you text? Yeah.
Mr. Router, is July 30th work?
It works for us, for the city.
Okay. All right. That's all I need to hear. Okay. So Mr. McClure is going to let us know in a moment whether or not his client is available.
You also check with Greg as well, Meredith? Meredith, did Greg answer? I saw Melissa's answer.
Greg has not answered yet.
Our clients who use ASL, Mr. Chairman,
yes,
are available.
Okay.
They're confirming whether or not we had one witness as backup. We don't want to call them, but we depend upon what happens on the 30th. But let's just say we'll go with the 30th for now.
Okay.
If you can put us on the beginning of the calendar, that would be greatly appreciated, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Alrighty. And please, if anything occurs between now and then has an impact on the schedule, please let the administrator know so that we can respond appropriately. We want to get this matter heard and resolved as quickly as we can.
Mr. Chairman, as you know, we sent a letter in February asking for emergency appeal. This is our third listing. We will do everything humanly possible to have this hearing and not to delay.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty. So please note for the record, just for a minute here, so that we can HA 2024-000025, 156 West Schoolhouse Lane, Penn Knox Neighborhood Association has been continued until July 30th. Thank you very much for your participation and your cooperation.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good evening. Okay, board, is there anyone have a need for executive session? If not, have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.